Right. Hello! Hello. Hello, hello. It is in fact Grold, guys. It's Thursday night, mainly because tomorrow is Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas, everyone. It's our last game before Christmas. And then we'll be playing again in the New Year. So hi. It's been a little while. We are hello, Juno. We are here. Juno is causing absolute chaos.
The microphone. Sorry about that.
I am cereal mother. Consume me.
Yep, she's having a great time. Yes, but she's not allowed to. She's around the cone of shame because she's been neutered, so she's no longer allowed to.
Her horny cone of shame.
Her horny cone of shame. So yes, Grold, hello. It is Arc 8. It's Ezra's Arc. It's the last session of Ezra's Arc.
Dang, it's the 40th session.
Wow! We've been going a long time, pals. So yes, so it's session 5 of Arc 8. It's the 40th session, as wife would like to tell us. And yes,
Why I keep track of the total numbers so I can know if we ever get to 100.
I was thinking 69 would be more important.
That would be
nice.
Very
nice.
We will get 69. So
nice.
Nice.
It is.
420, here we come.
So we absolutely. So we are you guys have just finally managed to finish your journey across the entirety of the sea and the Stygian forest, and find that there's a whole lot of world out there that you didn't know about. You guys fought that session. You guys fought the Mirage Dragon, which was fun. Everybody got their vibes. Everybody got their various skill things that they wanted, aside from Hathor missing out on survival. But everybody else got literally everything else, so that's very good. It was everybody's birthday all the time. I believe Ezra, Hathor, and Cacula all had their birthdays last session, so that was fun. And then on the 25th of January, you guys arrived at the island of Ven. You spotted both the small settlement of Yakor and also the larger and central settlement of Morgift, which actually has a skyport. And you guys headed over and were like, oh, hello. And from there, you were you drew quite a crowd of people interested as to see why your skyship looked so weird. And once they had been like, wow, that's why your skyship looks so weird, you had been you were then, you know, just somebody was like, maybe you should go see some people who are in charge. So Carol Icedancer, who was the head of the docks, was like, okay, let's take you into town and we'll go see some people who actually have, you know, in chargeness. So you headed into Morgift a bit more. You were given some bread, and it was white bread, which you'd never eaten before, and you were like, what is this shit? This is not bread. This is a lie. And
the bread is a lie.
Is this bread?
Is a lie.
Hello, baby.
She is cereal.
She is cereal.
She's playing D&D. She might. Oh dear.
She's playing. Thanks, Juno. We love you. She is wonderful. But yes, you also realize that there's non-magical lighting, i.e. electric lighting. And you were like, what is electricity? And Carol was like, I'm gonna find somebody who knows more about this shit to explain that to you. But first, go see the government. So you went to go to see the Eversummer Court, and we left off last session with you guys entering the court chambers of the Eversummer Court and finding yourselves stood in front of the 8 members of the Eversummer Court, all looking at you like, a what? So that's where we'll pick back up. You guys are stood here in this large chamber with these beautiful marbled pillars and this very nicely tiled floor, and a large round table in the center. And sat at this table in this rounded table so that it doesn't have with people sitting at angles where there's somebody more in charge than another are 8 people. You had been greeted by the centaur at this side of the table. Here they are. Who had greeted you and said, "Welcome to this." Hi. And yes, it is just the 4 of you because Frost Lion was like, "I'm just gonna let you deal with that." The centaur kind of stands up completely to their full height, which of course is a good few feet taller than you are because of the horse body, and kind of bows their head to you and says, "So, right. I guess first let's do your side of introductions and who you are, and tell us a bit about your story, and then we'll see if we can assist you." Sure?
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, hi, we are...
Welcome to the Watcher.
What are you doing?
I'm not playing any
No,
sound.
that was me. There was sound emerged from my phone. I'm sorry, carry on.
Oh God!
Howdy!
That was part of the background. I thought it was going like,
Open!
That's my new Kitto voice, and also I can do it without like moving my mouth.
Welcome to the war!
Anyway, carry on.
Go on, Gabriel.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Hathor Ermik.
Cacula Scops.
Kitto Wakenshaw.
Ezra Barakova, and this is Damocles. Can I just point at Damocles?
We're explorers. We came down from a settlement called Utopia. It's at the top of... what's the country called?
Utopia.
Utopia! The city of Utopia at the top of Utopia.
In Utopia, yeah.
In Utopia, looking for
Anything.
other people that we had heard rumor existed.
Our ship is the Stargrazer, and our captain is Frosty, and he's with the ship as we speak now.
Yes, Carol had said you had an interesting vessel.
We built it, yes. It's a arcanely powered skyship.
The person next to them pipes up. They appear to be what appears to be a sylph. So long white hair that kind of moves without any breeze in here, and these slightly glowing white blue tattoos on their face. They sit forward and go, "You say arcanely powered. Does this imply that there are non-arcanely powered skyships within your own reality?"
Yes, I'm not too sure on the details, Ezra.
Well, in term, it depends on your definition. I mean, how are your skyships powered? If I might ask.
Not by any of our skyships as arcanely powered would be illogical. All skyships are powered by the arcane in some way or another.
Most of us aren't.
Interesting.
They're steam. But introductions, if that's amenable.
Oh, of course. Yes. Sorry.
Aye.
The centaur kind of sits up a little and goes, yes, sorry. I'm Iglar Brookstrength. And the sylph then sits forward again. Othim. And next to them there's a moon elf who kind of takes their hair and pulls it back a little, and he Garah fades through, and then next to them the Eladrin, who kind of looks you over with a little bit of a curious look. Velena Torin. The human individual who sits at the front gives you a little bit of a kind of wry smile. They're clearly the youngest member of the group. Like definitely very, very young. Like maybe the same age as you, and they sit on this council. Gideon Bramble. Then half elf next to them, Thalen Shutterflow. And then the satyr says Tifno Darklorn. And then the green dragonborn finally says Gash Durfan.
Will you put that in the chat, please? Because I was keeping up okay, and there's so many of them.
There are 8 of them. There's 8 people.
A lot of people. If one person introduced himself to me, I have already forgotten their name. So
I can give you their pronouns as well if you'd like.
did you need to say give us our pronouns? New pronouns from the DM, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely pronouns. I'll deliver them to you. I will just ping them all with their pronouns for you. Because they as I said to Gabriel before, who needs to have any people who have a gender in your fucking in your council? Not necessary.
That actually disqualifies you. If you have a gender,
So there's
you're not
Othin.
allowed to run for office.
So there's Othin. Where's Gerard there? And then you can like see all of their tokens, obviously, as they're sat around. Velena, the Eladrin, sits forward. She's in winter, it being at the end of January, and she sits forward and goes, so, Utopia. How far north are we talking?
Well, it took us several months to get here. Best part of the year, really.
Interesting. I only ask because we were not aware there was anybody any further north than here.
We're starting to gather that.
Aye.
It
It helps. We were you either.
well, yes, I guess not. We there have been, how should we put this, expeditions to the edges of Utopia that had found the previous civilization's ruins, but there hasn't been any expeditions up there for at least 150 years. I would be the only one of this council who remember them.
Getting through the Stygian forest is a feat in and of itself, one that none of us have even managed to achieve. So
We flew over it and we still fought 3 dragons? 2?
Aye.
two dragons and a very big bird.
Aye. Quite a there's a lot of hostile life, both ground dwelling and flying. It's
Oh,
very
birds.
I see. So you speak of fighting dragons, you must be powerful, then.
As a group, potentially.
I see.
Enough not to be killed, at least.
Well, yes, dragon fighting is no small feat. I wouldn't sell yourselves short.
If I can also say as well, it was self-defense. We didn't go, this,
Oh, no, it's no
I know context matters.
It is of no criticism. Dragons and other creatures have long since been an issue of many places. Do not worry.
Right.
see. Gideon kind of clears their throat. Can I ask, what were you expecting to find?
We had heard basically rumor that there were other people out here, people who had got stranded via teleportation spells had made lives in the city, and then those who had contact with eldritch pacts with devils knew
Aye.
outer world.
Well, yes, there are. Yes, the devils of Ronmin and the demons of Ronmin do make themselves fairly well known across the nation.
Yes, we had an interaction with somebody who was then in a pact with one of those devils who talked about being from countries outside of Utopia.
I see. Interesting. I would ask, would nobody consider that there is other places, but I suppose we didn't consider that you were there for a very long time, so... Well, up until literally now, so...
I would say that most of the people who could afford to make an expedition like this wouldn't be particularly interested in other horizons unless they held profit.
Aye. It was also a technology thing. Before the ships we had just weren't. It would take too much time to get through the Stygian forest. Repairs were too difficult, and it would just be a nightmare. So
Our ship is quite an innovation.
Aye.
Not to brag, of course.
Otham sits forward and goes, "Oh no, I would agree. Stanza mentioned that it had a very different stylistic view to it. I'm sure that some of our engineers would be thrilled to have a look.
And our engineers would be delighted to tell you all about it."
Aye, pretty much.
There's a moment, and then the satyr, Tifno, sits forward. You mentioned not wanting to do anything aside from profit. What is your political system? Obviously, our reality has many. We are but a humble village court. We have superiors we answer to, which, admittedly, maybe we should consider. Anyway, what is yours? Not positive.
No, we have ruling houses who control the majority of the industry around, who serve as a form of council in themselves, and then their children in line tend to take their seats.
Inherited seats.
Aye.
The economy mostly requires enslaved labor.
There's a moment where all of them exchange a look.
Hathor looks over at Cacula like, "We really going out with that purse?"
Cacula just shrugs his shoulders like, "It's the truth."
I'm gonna kind of butt in a bit.
Not that we approve of this. In fact, it's one of the reasons that we wanted to see what else was out there. But it is nonetheless the truth. Our society, most likely, as it is currently, wouldn't function without them. You can't deny that.
Aye. Yeah. We as a crew are very much against that. You can ask any of the crew members. We're all here because we want to be, not because we're forced, anything like that. Please don't get the wrong idea.
But it is quite a quintessential part of the society we're from, and I would feel it remiss to describe our political system to you without it.
Aye.
Hoping that this isn't something carried forth into your civilization, because if so, I've made a rather large error.
Gaurav sits forward and goes, "Oh God, there hasn't been slavery in our civilizations for 300, 500 years.
Well,
Slave labor is not something that is...
Nice to know.
Not at least within the Macenian Islands, not within the Shareshi Island, not within the islands of Suresh, not within Ronman, not even as far north as the Fords. Now, I cannot speak only for the Vagrassi devils. They may have some hierarchical slave labor, but
Oh, devils.
yes,
I didn't get the
unfortunately,
best impression of the one that we met.
Aye.
we hold very little political sway. Even the luminous heirs hold basically no political sway.
Luminous heirs?
Oh, yes. He kind of looks over and the half-elf Selin sits holding this. So, you described your ruling as families, yes?
Inheritance.
We are a
Hmm.
small elected council. We're not in charge here. Well, that's not fair. We are, and our council is elected every 5 years, and who is in charge changes. But we do answer to the luminous heirs of the Empire of Light. We pay taxes. If they need an army, we are required to send men and women and everything in between. We govern our own civic and infrastructural things, but we're not a singularly controlled political power. There's a moment, and then he says, the island of Ven has been under the control of the luminous heirs for quite some time. It is not a new thing. Around 160 years. I believe Valena is the only one of us who would remember life prior to the Empire of Light. The Eladrin nods. She seems older as well. She looks like she's in her 30s or 40s, which for an elf could make her maybe 500 or 600 years old. The other elf, Garra, the moon elf, looks maybe to be in his late 20s, which probably doesn't make him as old. He could be within his hundreds. Valena says, yes. It was a fairly peaceful takeover. There was no bloodshed. But that is not relevant. Though I do believe it would be perhaps useful for you to speak with them. They hold a lot more political sway than we do. We are but a town council of a very small island. They are in charge of many islands and many places. Though, I must ask, what can we do for you? You are here, you are exploring, you say. What else do you want? What do you want to know?
Kind of glance at Ezra.
Okay, well, I don't suppose you have a map of the closest geographically correct?
Yes. I mean, I at least have a map of the islands of Mackinac and probably a map of Growald as a whole. Then
Okay.
Jash looks up and goes, oh, yes, sorry. And she reaches under the table and starts writing through some things and then pulls out a large map and spreads it across the table. This is the Mackinac Islands.
Sorry, question. Would we know that the Earth is called Growald?
It has always been called Growald.
Okay. So we do know that. That's not like a new.
No.
That's not a new information.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure because I was pretty sure, but then I was like, or is that just because I know it's called Growald?
No. As far as you're aware, it has always been called Growald.
Okay.
They roll out a full Growaldy map for you, which there you go, have the overall map. And then they kind of indicate to you that this island here is the island you're currently on, which is the island of Ven. This is the island of Ven. Give me a moment. I should have an actual, at least a further out Mechanian map. 1 second. And she kind of rifles through a whole load of papers, trying to find the map that she's looking for. And as she's doing so, there's a moment where you get a slight look from there we go. You get a slight glance over from Othim, who is like looking at Ezra mainly up and down, and goes, "You're an engineer, yes?"
Yes, I School of Mechanics. I like to think I'm pretty good. Worked on the engine.
Mechanics?
The basically a school, as the name suggests, but instead of so you have different schools where we're from. School of
Only in the university.
Aye.
You do have formalized education.
Aye. Yes.
In a way, but there's only really one university. It's quite expensive and somewhat exclusive. You have to be either be very clever or subsidized.
Right. I see.
Aye.
I see. That makes sense. It is I must admit it's not the strong suit of the island here. There's some schooling within the island, but mainly if you wanted to find magical schooling, you wouldn't go here. Ven is not very large. Yes, sorry, you wanted the maps for a reason? Yash says, finally, hopefully being able to find the map that she's looking for.
Yes, well, two reasons. So one, we've been isolated in a small part of the world, and it's nice to see what we're actually looking at with the rest of it. And there's a lot more here than was expecting, which is fantastic. Also kind of puts us on the map as to where exactly we are, and
moves the other map over for you.
And also, it's just it's good to know the general area where we're at. They're pretty much just that, really. We've just landed here. We've been told it's an island. It's nice to know whereabouts in the world we are.
Yeah, so this is the island of Ven here, she says, pointing out in the islands of Mackinac.
Mm-hmm.
And then south of here is the island of Torwale.
Right.
But the Mackinac Islands are a group of islands, and then you have Brunmin to the east of us and Sharesh to the west. And then west from here is the continent of Zenia.
Right, okay. Is there... I know this was asked before, I think when we were on the way here. If anyone, please, if there's anything else, please do butt in and tell me. What, since we've just kind of come out of the middle of nowhere, really, what should we, how would you describe the other continents, just as a rough general introduction for someone who doesn't know, kind of thing?
Mackinac is a selection of islands. You're likely to find a higher Fey population here. We are. Torwale was the seat of part of the reality fracture, so there is a significant Fey concentration.
Right.
Ronmin is devils in the north and demons in the south. I guess I would not advise traveling there unless you have to.
Right.
I guess the city of Vagras, if you want good trade, has excellent markets on their secondary and third tiers, but they don't have any teleportation circles that they are willing to let us use. So trade there goes by skyship only. To the left, Shareshi Desert is... Sharesh is an island similar to our own, has very similar political structures. It's mainly a little more complicated because it has it has difficult terrain, shall we say. There is the Shareshi Basin, which is a jungle area, and then there's the desert itself, which is also complicated to live within. So most of their settlements are on the coast. And then there is, to the north, there is Zenia, which, as far as I am aware, I'm no historian, would be the most similar to Utopia, or at least to Utopia prior to the calamity. It's a large nation, that has a significant empire in the center, but generally is a pastoral nation, fairly peaceful these days. The islands of Mackinac depends on the island you're going to, but most of them have some Fey influence. It does depend really on where you're going, as to what you're going to find.
How far does the Empire of Light stretch?
The Empire of Light doesn't encompass many of the islands. It encompasses Torwale, which is where the Luminous Heirs live, in the city of Solik. It also encompasses the island of Nemna, which here she then switches back to the Mackinac map for you, because that's the one that's got the fucking things on. Here the island of Nemna, us the island of Ven, and down to the south the island of Bakrian is currently disputed territory, I believe. It is not going well for them.
Right.
Hang on, sorry. The Estrigan?
Estrian is not part of the.
So it was Torwheel.
Yeah, it's Torwale, Ven, Nemna, and Bakrian they're currently attempting to take over, but not having much success.
Right.
So it goes in like a straight line across.
They had attempted. I believe they had. Admittedly, it's been a. Jash looks over and Valena takes over and she goes, they have previously attempted to invade Estrian. That went incredibly poorly for them, and they decided not to try again. Understandably so. It is it has not been expansionist. It is fairly recently expansionist in terms of the lifetime
Estrian?
of the individuals. No, Estrian is not part of the Empire.
No, you
Right.
said Estrian has not been expansionist in part of the
Oh
life.
no, the Empire has only been expansionist for maybe the last 200 years, which, considering that the Luminous Heirs are archfey, that's incredibly recent. I recognise that it's probably a lot shorter than your lifespans. You are all. None of you are elven, but it is very short in our lifespans.
Can I insight check that?
Yeah, sure, you can. Roll it.
Can I
What are you looking for?
ascertain? That sounded pretty scathing.
Okay,
I was
you
going
want
to say, I would also
Yeah.
like to vibe check how these guys are feeling about, like, expansionism.
That sounded pretty scathing.
They're all
Didn't-
sounding not too happy. They're all sounding a bit too happy about the lack of success in Bakrian.
Okay.
Yeah.
go for it.
Insight a 9.
Yeah, you're not quite sure.
Yeah, only 11 for Cacula.
You get a little
And I
bit.
didn't bring any dice, so roll 20
Yeah,
my only
rolls,
option.
yeah. Other people can do it as well if other people want to. Kitto and
Okay.
I will give
I mean,
this a try.
Kitto, use that nice new insight proficiency you've got going.
Yeah, that's true. But where did I put my bag of dice? Oh, here it is.
Ba, 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 ba.
Okay.
In your cereal bowl.
Yeah, it's in Juno's mouse.
In the soup.
Small. Yeah.
Sorry.
Not worry.
It's okay.
That was a 15.
Okay, so Cacula, you're not sure. Kitto and Ezra. Valena personally seems a little put out by that. She doesn't seem to be a huge fan of the expansionism. But you, with a 19, Ezra, and you with a 15, notice that it is making a few of the other council members a little bit uncomfortable. You don't think in a way of like, oh, she shouldn't be saying this, but more in a way of, we owe them our lives, we should not criticize them openly. In a less in a they disagree, and more in a
Twitchy way.
oh, be careful, let's not get into trouble, we are directly in contact with them kind of thing. Less of a like they disagree, but more of a and speaking of that, often be that as it may, it is irrelevant at this point. The luminous heirs are, well, not for us to speak of. They are their own people, and if you would like, I'm sure we can get you an audience. They may be able to provide you with more information than we can. It depends, I guess, what information you're looking for.
This is off him.
Of him, yes, the sylph.
Currently, we are about half an hour off the ship, and
Oh, that's okay. Arsim kind of looks over and Agla goes, oh, we can of course point you to an inn.
yeah. Not to end this shortly. I'm sure there's plenty more questions that we'd have, but currently, at least all my mind can produce is, haha, we did no more ship.
That is very fair. Okay. Is there anything that you would like Okay, we will go away and inquire about maybe getting you an audience with the Luminous Heirs at some point.
Right, if you'd like. I mean, I'm not really sure what we. If they would like to speak to us, of course, I'm sure we'd be happy to oblige, especially because of your hospitality.
They're the most
But,
political space within our realm, and it would be remiss of us to not invite them to the table of conversation with people who are, quite frankly, complete unknown to us.
right. Please
Right.
kind of give them that with the caveat that none of us have absolutely any political power in the place where we're from. We're just from there.
You
Aye.
are the first people out here. I'm afraid you now have political power in our eyes. That is how it works.
Right.
I'm quite
Great.
about that.
Okay.
It is your choice to take it or remove it, but you can either pass that on to somebody else, but you are the first people we've spoken to.
No. That makes complete sense.
Mhm.
Well, all right, okay.
I think it'll be best for us, if everyone agrees, to go away, have a bit of a rest, have a think on it. Our position, the position we've introduced to you guys, and we can kind of reconvene at another point. Would that be good for everyone?
Gideon,
Maybe.
the human stands up at the front. Yes, I will. I'll take you to find one of our nearest. Do you have currency?
We've got
That's fine. That's fine.
Mhm.
It won't be stamped in a way that they're familiar with, but it's gold nonetheless.
Gold is gold, unless yours is more token than. How much gold content is in your gold?
Hathor will
I
reach
have
out.
no idea.
Yeah, I like
I,
Hathor. Whoa, yes, no, that's fine. You're fine. You will have no issue paying.
It's not
for
worth
that.
more, is it?
No, I'm afraid
That would be a delightful surprise.
Anyway, yes, I will take you to find somewhere. We will discuss. And how about you return tomorrow morning? Give you some time to settle.
Yeah, if we are to be new political faces,
You do not have to be, but you must be aware that that is how people will view you.
okay, we should at least be a united front.
Yes, of course. Come with me. And Gideon stands, kind of gives a nod to the rest of the council, who give a slight nod back. And you get a little bit of the vibe, especially with you guys with the Kitto and Ezra with that inside check, a little bit of the vibe of like, just because I'm the youngest here doesn't mean I have to be the dog's body. But they still
Nice.
do like stand up and lead you out, and kind of once the door is closed, they kind of drop that much more formal expression and just kind of run a hand through their hair and go, Jesus. Oh God. Anyway, hi. Great. Let's go. And kind of like lead you outside.
I hope we've not caused you any trouble. We didn't mean to interrupt anything.
Aye.
Fine. Much more exciting than the meeting we were having. Don't worry.
Fair.
I did actually, have a question that I didn't really feel was kind of pertinent enough for the council because it seems pretty, widespread in your society. But I asked the very nice gentleman on the way up here how what kind of magic you're using to get the lights in the houses, because it doesn't look like anything I recognize. I think the same can be said for most of us, really. How are you achieving that? Because it's rather impressive, and if it's a spell, I'd love to learn it.
Aye.
It's not magical. Right.
Oh.
I'm afraid nobody here is an actual expert in electricity, but how to describe it? Magic takes power directly from the plane of magic, Atreya, yes?
Yes.
That's how that works. Or I guess you can take it divinely if you are a paladin or a cleric. But the way that this works is it's not magic. It takes, I guess, potential in the world and turns it into heat and light. It's very new. It's
Okay.
we haven't really got much further than lighting and and we kind of use it a little bit in our skyships. But it is an incredibly new invention. Like it's been around for the last maybe 50 years, maybe.
You've
not that.
found a new energy source on the material plane.
Yes, it's a good way of putting it.
Like,
Wow.
That's remarkable.
Aye.
I'll just turn to Ezra and say, like, we have to get Atri talking to someone who knows more about this. I think they'll probably explode.
I'm almost.
Anyway, yes, let's
Aye, sorry.
Gideon leads you over to about 2 or 3 streets down. There's a inn which seems to be quite quiet, but it is like mid-afternoon, so it's not really a time that an inn would be busy. And Gideon goes in and has a conversation with the barkeep, who's a gnomish woman, and just has a quick brief chat. Says, can you see to housing these people on court's money? It's fine. Just at least for the evening. And she nods, and Gideon hands over 3 gold, and then gives you a bit of a smile and says, "The rooms are paid for, so I'm afraid I can't cover very much else, but the rooms are paid for and sorted."
That's very generous of you. Please thank your colleagues as well.
And we shall see you tomorrow.
Aye. See you tomorrow.
They kind of give a little nod and hurry out. The inn feels a little bit more homely. There is 1 electric lamp, but the rest of it appears to be ever-burning torches, which is a little like the overhead lamp is electric, but
It's comfy, it's familiar.
Yeah, it's cozy and familiar, and it's quiet, and you can definitely find a seat to sit down in a spot where nobody is looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
Very quiet.
Frostline about this.
what did you say?
Yeah,
That's the end of that.
That's the end of that one.
Oh, sorry. I just said we should probably go and tell Frostline about this. Pretty sharpish, right?
Yes, that was my
Aye.
thinking. Or
I
at least
can't believe I didn't realise that by being the first people from our city that they've ever met, we would become the representations of our city. That's so much responsibility.
so much opportunity as well.
Yes.
It's
Right.
pretty fun, I must admit. It's a bit, it's nice to.
Stressful.
I thought I'd escaped this when my grandmother disowned me.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be. She's not a nice woman.
Right.
She did re-own you.
And then presumably disowned him again once he was on trial
Yeah.
for execution.
There was a lot of disowning and re-inviting back into the
Oh,
family.
yeah, actually, he'll say, like, well, then I suppose she did disown me. But then I assume she disowned me again, so I guess we're back to base 1, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. Anyway, it's not important. It's not relevant.
Treason would do that.
Precisely. I don't even have to be quiet about it anymore because
I
nobody's going
would
to arrest
though.
me.
I really would though. I would really be quiet about it. There is nobody else in this bar apart from the barkeep, and she is not paying any attention to you right now. Like it is like 2 p.m. Nobody is here.
She's got a book.
Yeah,
No, but like, you know, I can say the word emancipation without having to whisper about it, even though I just did, but that was habit
I don't
and
think
not necessity.
I don't think people would be very upset with you about freeing slaves. I maybe wouldn't go and
No.
tell new high-level political people that you're on trial for treason in your previous country.
That's
I-
true. That's
that-
true. But
that-
consider, I never actually went on trial because they never got me.
That
You
does.
still want it? I was like, I can't believe I'm having to explain this. You can't say you're wanted for treason in your previous country. We can't tell them that part of the reason that we're fleeing is because we left, is because we're fleeing, because they'll kill us if they find us. Considering we're now representatives, we can't be representatives if we're wanted criminals. Even if it is for decent reasons.
I hate it when you make sense.
It is a very good point.
I would maybe explain the reasons we're in trouble before you go around telling people, oh, it's fine, I'm wanted for treason in this continent, but it's okay because I'm not there anymore.
Very good point.
Make a good point.
I
Don't think it does great for first introductions.
mean, if you explained their laws first and how, like, because for all you know,
Yes,
we could
that's
go
true.
we could go somewhere and it's treason to pick up a duck. I don't know. We don't know.
That's what I'm worried about here, though. You know, like our guide was like, "Oh no, it's fine. Like nothing can get you arrested that wouldn't get you arrested anywhere else." But he doesn't know what would get us arrested in Utopia. What if he thinks that picking up a duck is cause for execution and that's perfectly normal? I'm afraid to do anything.
They'll start losing it.
I'm in love with this.
Hathor, don't laugh. This is a genuine concern.
He's like sliding off the chair and under the table. I think I'm gonna cry.
Okay.
Let's get back to things that are very serious now.
Holy fuck, we're in a different city. Yeah, maybe kicking up a duck is illegal, Cacula. It might be because it's somebody else's duck, or it might be that ducks are sacred and they can do whatever it is illegal. They can do whatever they want.
I'm gonna kind of quickly like turn to the barkeep and just like,
she's like not. She's reading. She's not looking at you.
You gonna go up to the bar and ask the bar, mate, if picking up ducks is legal?
you know, when you put it like that, I don't think picking up ducks is
Also,
illegal.
you never know. It might be incredibly rude to ask. That's what
Aye.
I'm saying.
It could
But
be
I
treason.
kind of
It could be
bring
treason
that
to ask.
round to a more serious point, which is
Aye, fair.
we don't know what we're treading on here. We don't know what is a landmine. I really shouldn't have said anything about the slavery thing, because while I was correct that it is a very vital part of our political system, if they shared that, you know, if they also...
A lot of hot water very, very quickly.
Exactly.
Aye, you're right.
But what if the luminous beings, or whatever they're called, are trying to instill that? Like, I'm not particularly sure I approve of their acquisitioning, but that also isn't something that I've picked up would be all right to say.
I I suppose I don't know. I don't even want to ask. Acquisitioning other land seems fine if the people there living there like it, but I suppose if they don't, then no. But oh god,
But what if they, because I'm kind of thinking maybe in that case we can solve that by just
look, okay,
only answering the questions that they ask us. But then what if they ask us about that?
Cacula, ground rules. I think it's best to be careful around people that we can't fight our way out of the situation if it goes horribly wrong. I'm not afraid of offending the dockmaster because I know I could kill him in a heartbeat if I wanted to.
I mean, he looks very strong.
He was
There's
very.
a lot of strength in in those legs.
He was also very lovely. If we need to get on the ship and run, we can. I didn't feel like we could have run out of that room if we needed to.
Right.
No, you're right. It's a good rule.
Mm-hmm. Could we please not talk about killing people so openly?
You are now getting side-eyed by the bar.
What if I imagine we're not speaking in a language she can understand though? Because why would you do that if we were speaking to each other?
Yeah,
Are you speaking Utopian? That's fine.
We
Yeah.
Utopian.
You got a
Yeah.
side-eye when you started speaking Utopian, but she doesn't care enough to pay attention to a language she doesn't speak. That's
Yeah,
not,
and I guess like for her specifically, she's an innkeeper on an island in a system of
Aye.
islands that trade with each other. Like it makes sense
not
that she'd be
common,
hearing
but-
languages she doesn't understand a lot.
it's not uncommon. So she you get a, but then you're speaking a language she doesn't speak, so she doesn't pay any attention to you.
Just remember your tongue, Cacula.
It doesn't last that long though, does it? It's only last an hour,
Oh, okay.
so it'll have gone by now.
You are not tongued. But yeah, the point that Gabriel is trying to make and Hathor explained badly. Haha.
No, it's a good point.
Yeah, I think we're okay in situations where the people who we're dealing with, we could fight our way out of those situations if we desperately needed to. Does
Aye.
strike me that if we're in a room with 3 archfey, we're going to be able to do that.
Yep, that is wise.
That's very fair, to be honest. Yeah, that's a good point.
I would not advise it.
Yeah.
You'll die.
So we
Very
want to be very
fast.
careful with our words and what we say.
Yeah.
I think my first instinct was just to answer the questions they give us and not say much more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might follow it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, the other thing we need to think about is what if eventually, I mean, maybe even now, considering their expansionist proclivities, we come across a political body that, I don't know, takes up particular protest against our system and decides to invade or offers us their help in overthrowing the system or whatever some kind of political body might do.
America. Sorry.
We need to think about what our answer would be in that case, I think. Maybe we don't need to have one right now, but we at least need to consider it's a possibility.
I
don't like having that much control over the lives of people who don't know that would be happening, but I think it's going to happen eventually, or if it doesn't, it would be good to be prepared.
I actually think possibly we should defer. If asked about, we're not politicians, we are explorers. Say what we said to the people in the council room. We are not politicians, we are explorers. We are here for our own personal errands, and whatever the political system in our country is, we are not in a position to change it or organize trade deals or talk to them about signing treaties or anything like that. I think also speaking for our current government without permission is a mistake.
I mean, can I just put a tiny little bit of a thing through that we all know very well?
Mm-hmm.
Our current government is shite.
Yes.
Absolutely horrendous to the people under it. Slavery, perfectly allowed, all that stuff. And
they aren't here.
I'm not good at this sort of stuff, but I recognize the potential for change when it can finally happen. I don't think we should just throw this out straight away. And to be fair, we just need to let them know that we're not politicians, but we are wanting to take opportunities to make changes.
I suppose if the opportunity arises.
Aye, as long as
I
that
think
doesn't
perhaps-
turn. Sorry.
Sorry, go on, Ezra.
As long as that opportunity doesn't turn into invasion, but I mean, we've also got the Stygian forest that no one's ever been able to get through, so I don't think invasion is something we need to worry about, because they can't get through it.
I don't know.
That's all.
Yeah.
I know it's jumping a bit ahead, but it just...
No, it's a good point, Ezra. I think perhaps our approach to it now, before we discuss with the rest of the crew, with Frost Lion and etc., is don't ask about it, and if they mention it, speak from the heart about our experiences. And I suppose that's all we can do, really.
Aye.
It doesn't make sense to lie because they would find out eventually anyways, but I don't think it makes much more sense to go telling people things that would potentially put them at an aggressive angle against us.
Aye. They already know that we're that even though our culture is built off of slavery, us ourselves as first points of contact are not like happy with that in the slightest, and they seemed quite happy to know we were not.
I was about to say, although it was impulsive, I'm glad I said it, because I think they would have treated us rather differently if I hadn't.
Agreed.
But I know that's not a guarantee we can make with everybody, so I will be more careful in the future.
Aye, that's fair. I mean, we all did what we thought was right, and you know, we didn't get killed, so I think we did all right for first contact. You know.
You're right.
Kitto, back of your head, there's a. Where are you guys? It's Frostline. One, the dragon is. The dragon is really driving us mad. Help.
We'll come back now. Kitto, they're asking for us back at the ship. Apparently, the dragon is
Oh,
Fine,
we've got
fine,
to
the
talk
dragon's
about
fine.
The dragon.
Oh.
We probably could use some help with that.
We asked to reconvene about talking points. Now we've reconvened.
Right,
I
okay.
said we weren't in a position to be asking and receiving information. We
You know,
weren't.
I really get the sense that Frosteye would be a lot better at this than we would be. Maybe we should just ask him what he thinks we should do.
Aye, there is more of us than just everyone
Hit the
sat around
DM
the table.
help button.
I mean, Frostline will talk to you, but there is no way he's coming into a. He's like.
No, I know, don't worry. That was Cacula being like, Frost Lion, Captain, help! Not Niimi being like, Aleks, DM, help!
Oh, Captain, my captain, fucking hell.
Feels like we're just going up to an NPC in a video game who has like the tutorial language.
Yeah.
It's like going up and being like, "Hey, buddy, what am I supposed to be doing on this quest? Oh, I think you should go to this place. Oh, great, that's where I'm supposed to be going."
Are you guys heading back to the ship?
Yeah.
The further around the ship has died down. There are definitely less people just sort of stood around staring at it now. The gangplank is still down though, so you can get on. And as you get on, there is somewhat high-pitched screeching on deck. And as you step onto the ship, Frostlion is holding the Fey Dragon, which little legs are going like this. And Frostlion is like, "It doesn't like me, it doesn't like me, it doesn't like me." And
All right.
Chronic, and
Hello,
it's like,
darling. Hello. Come on, darling.
and it settles down.
There we go. What did you do?
What did you do to it?
oven.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Pulled it out of the oven.
No, never a good idea. You need to have something warm
Alessandra
to put
was
it in
trying
after.
to cook.
I know, but you need to have something warm to put it in after. It doesn't like being taken out.
I've got a good idea. Okay. Damocles.
It's not. Do not put it back in the dock.
No, don't worry. Damocles.
Damocles sits.
Use flamethrower.
Okay, like,
It's like
Roll.
singes Cacula's eyebrows off.
like, can you roll over? Your
Yeah.
belly is the most warmest part with the engine. Do you mind if Littleton just rests there for a bit to warm up while people cook?
You get a side eye, but he rolls onto his back anyway.
Oh, Damocles, you're the best boy. Who's the best boy? It's you. You are, in fact, the best boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you get what? Cacula gets a tail wag. He likes that.
Hathor will run a heated hand over it.
Yeah. It
There we are.
is
sweetheart.
just fussing.
Nice
with
and toasty for you.
dragon.
We
Frostline.
really should mention the dragon.
Did you not mention the dragon?
No,
a
we
bit
kind of panicked.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 8 people. They were a democratically elected council. I didn't know what to do with that.
I mean,
Do we know what the word democracy means? Like,
no! You are just.
I'm like, this is a completely unknown concept.
It doesn't have a translation in Utopian, so Frostline's like, right. What the fuck is Democrat? What is this? What do you mean?
Look, I'm not entirely sure. I'm just parroting what I heard. They said that they were elected by the people who live here.
So they're not just like in charge because their dad was.
No,
I'm-
it's insane.
That's
But
fucking, yeah.
We're
They-
talking like
they-
hall monitor level of like elected official.
I mean,
This is like this, but applied to an actual country of government.
that doesn't even happen on skyships. Not even piracy skyships. The captain elects the.
But to be fair, in a familiar, but I'm not entirely sure how reassuring notion, they are overruled by some kind of archfey congregation council who are gradually attempting to take over the entirety of this island system.
That sounds more familiar.
So yes, at least spiritually, that's incredibly familiar.
Yeah.
Apparently, we'll be speaking with them as well, but not tomorrow, hopefully.
We made introductions.
Hmm.
We made amicable introductions. I feel like they liked us.
Right.
Stuff.
Good to know. Good to know.
We didn't completely bottle it, but
No,
also, things are okay. We said we would. We'd only been off the ship maybe a half hour, and they were like, "What do you want to know about being here? What can we point you? We can set you up with an audience with these incredibly powerful archfey." We were like, "Can we be here for more than 5 minutes, please? We'll come back to you with talking points."
and they were very accommodating. They've gotten us some rooms in a nearby inn.
Right. Good.
I'm not sure if it's enough to house everybody because there was only the 4 of us in the council
Yeah.
chambers, but
We'll
I
see.
assume someone would want to stay with the ship anyway.
Yes, we'll stay. Right.
Oh, Ezra, didn't you want to go and mention to Atri about the, kind of electricity
Come with.
and things?
Aye. Okay, Frostline, where's Atri?
We're in the basement as usual.
Okay, perfect. If you hear excited shouting, it's a good thing.
It's always Atri.
Aye, it's a good thing, I promise.
To be honest, if I hear excited shouting, it's Atri, and I have stopped listening to it.
Okay, that's fine. I'll come back up in a bit once I've explained.
Yes.
Go
You
just
kind of
pat her
give
off.
the wall a look over. Right. Okay. Now, what do we want from this? Like, I'd kind of not really planned for us actually to find people.
Yes, no, neither had we. And we have also now come to the realization that we are essentially representing our entire country as some kind of democratic envoy.
You keep using the word democratic.
No, I didn't mean democratic, I meant diplomatic.
Okay.
And I said diplomatic instead.
I think it's
that's fine.
funnier
That's what I
if
meant.
you said democratic.
New word, gonna use it all the time.
He doesn't really understand it yet. No, you're right, actually. I think he did use diplomatic because he's enjoying having a new word. And he's like, yeah, kind of chosen by the people. We're people, we chose ourselves.
I'm not sure that's how that works. Right, okay.
Is
How do we?
I'm going to see if Cassandra would let us democratically elect what we eat for tea.
No, she'll kill you. Okay, but my point still stands. One, help with the dragon because it can't stay here, and two, presumably to find Ezra's family. Right? That's the other point.
I think those are our goals.
Did you ask about that?
I didn't want to ask them when we were just on first introduction, just because I was wanting to get a feel of what they're like first. You know,
It's understandable. It is a very personal request, and we don't want to. If they were unfriendly, we didn't want to give them things that they wouldn't have otherwise had.
Yes. Okay, that's both of those things are fair.
Tomorrow I'll ask.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot better. Now that we know that they're, not going to eat us or execute us for picking up a duck.
Why did they execute you for picking up a duck?
It's a whole thing. I'm very concerned. Not just about ducks, just in general.
Okay. Let's. You know what? He takes a second and takes the rapier out of his usual sheath, spins it around and holding like the blade where it's not sharp and bangs it once, twice, pause, bang, 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 3 more times, and then there's like silence in the ship for a second, and then sudden scuttering footsteps, and everybody comes on deck. Everybody, the whole crew, comes on deck, and Frostline says, fine, let's do a ship meeting. Go find some. And he then goes and stands at the front of the deck where the prow is, and looks over, and the rest of the crew kind of stand and look at him. And he's never done this before, but you realize that this is probably what would constitute to an emergency shipwide meeting kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's clearly a thing that they recognize. And he kind of, right, okay. He's speaking Utopian the whole time. Right, okay. He like rubs his face. Right. We're here. There are people here. There are new things here. Clearly they will have laws and various stuff. Let's set some ground rules. Don't do anything stupid. This means no theft. I mean all of you. We're all from places with light fingers, but no theft. This means no starting fights in bars. This means try to speak Cortan wherever you can. Don't need to give a reason for these people to think we're being insidious or weird. It means don't try and antagonize anyone. Just try and keep your head down and blend in. If people are doing something, follow their lead. Don't go talking about why we're here. Don't use the word pirate. They don't need to know that we're criminals in our own world. It is a new start. We're as up and up as they come, right? Cacula has pointed out that we, by virtue of being first here, are ambassadors of some variety. This means don't get into trouble. We need to be careful. We don't know their customs, they don't know ours. So just don't be an idiot. That means don't ask people why they've got so many legs, actually. Means no insensitive comments, even if things are weird. This whole reality exists outside of us, and we're the intruders here, not them. We don't get to be the ones making the rules. You know that. If we're going to be ambassadors, let's at least pretend they don't need to know that we don't have any political sway where we're from. That's not relevant. Well, at least not to the average people on the street. let's just be careful. Okay? Now back to whatever you were fucking doing. Kind of waves. They wander off. Weirdly enough, that technically counts as inspiring leader speech. So you gain the benefits of inspiring leader.
Woo!
He steps down, the rest of the crew kind of scatter, and oh god. Okay, that should at least keep us from getting into trouble. Okay. We can't predict what their customs will be, obviously, but we can not be idiots about it. Yeah?
Aye.
It was a very, very good idea.
Right. How are we all doing, alright?
List of questions. Can I add one?
Are you asking me?
No, to the list of help. We've got a baby dragon and Ezra's mum? Question mark.
Right, yeah.
Can we ask about medical advancements they might have made?
Sure. I presume they would have. I don't know what they would have. I guess they may have differences in medical or technological advancements. They clearly seem to have technological advancements that we don't have.
If they've got technological, they've probably got medicinal. And I would like to know them. All of them. Right now.
Well, they'll probably point us to a healer, Hathor. So it might not be that immediate, but we can go that day.
I was more meaning, like, I would theoretically. I don't actually have to know them all right here, right now, or I'll die.
Well, to be fair, if you wait a little bit, if they do have something that can help your sister, I'm working on kind of half learning, half altering. Anyway, it's a spell that means if we find a big enough tree, I should be able to get us to a tree of corresponding size back into Utopia, or anywhere really that I've already been. So we can just pop through, maybe with a healer. We can just pop right into your mother's garden, maybe.
Plant teleport.
That's the one.
The closest tree of large enough size in the city would be behind the back of the Changebringers temple where you were in Arc 1.
Although, I'm not actually sure that tree would be big enough. But I guess we could use a Changebringer's garden, and they like us there, so. Oh, and we can check in on them and see, if they did go on that date and everything. I'm getting distracted. Anyway, that's my news.
Frostlion just like, oh, that's pretty brilliant. Kind of
Well,
put.
I was trying to get it sorted by the time that we got here as like a nice woohoo land surprise, but it didn't really work out that way, so I'm getting there slowly.
Magic's hard. You don't have to tell me.
It really is.
Right. Okay. What do you got? I'm gonna go have a drink. You look after the dragon. Kitto, can I have a word? And then he walks off towards his cabin.
We'll vaguely shrug at the rest of the party and then follow him.
Kitto, if this takes a while, I think we might just go head back to the inn. It just feels a waste not to use the rooms that we've been given.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure Hathor can let you know.
Okay.
See you soon.
You head in, and Frostlion sat behind his very small desk with his head in his hands.
You look stressed.
You look like you're not coping.
Am I supposed to be?
Well, I'm not, so I thought I'd, one person who's not coping to another person who's not coping. What's wrong with you?
I don't know that. meeting, and then afterwards the others were talking about potential invading forces into Utopia and all.
Yeah.
And I've spent my entire life not wanting to do this. Like, my entire life.
You know you don't have to.
It's not. There's not really another option, is there? I
Stay
wouldn't.
with us. Like hell, I'm going out there. Like hell, I'm talking to one of your politicians. Oh.
Yeah.
And the captain of a ship and nothing else.
Yeah. Were you not expecting this? I don't mean that in a. That's not supposed to be insulting. I just. You seem caught off guard.
I don't know. I was. I hoped there was stuff out there, but I guess I had not really anticipated hoping that those things would have meant other people who were technologically more advanced than ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't. It was a hope. It was never something I had considered or thought through. And
Alex, could we have a change of music, please? Sorry.
sorry.
This is quite.
It's very like.
Let's put that one on.
Can I have a headed phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who can appreciate?
There you go. There is a. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to say that I had expected this. I want to say. To be honest, I think I did. I didn't. I didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Me neither. And it was a nice few months, you know. The journey, I mean, I just is. And now we're being given maps and names and political bodies and all of. And they keep asking us what we want. And telling us we're important, or what we say has importance, and
I mean, that's not new. You know? What we said had importance when we were at home.
yeah, but not for thousands of lives. Not really. You know, it's always about keeping you and yours.
Yeah, but you're looking at this the wrong way.
Oh, am I? Tell me then, how should I be looking at it?
For me, it always was about thousands of lives. If we fuck up, you pull one thread, right?
Yeah.
If I mess up and if we get into trouble and we get caught and we get killed, and the Black Mark think they can keep doing that, the Sky Pirates die. I protect the 12 people on this ship, but I'm also protecting every member of my society.
Yeah.
And sure, you don't want to speak for the entirety of the inhabitants of Utopia, don't. Just tell them you're not going to.
Yeah, I feel like any little wrong move could just, even Cacula's healer in a tree idea, I think that's what he was saying, right? Like, what if, I don't know, but what if they could extract that information about that location from the healer, and then suddenly they have an in?
Yeah, but to consider that is, one, irrelevant at this point because it's not something that is happening, but yeah. And what if tomorrow somebody like Cloud Fox gets captured and every single person I've ever known gets murdered?
Yeah.
The thing that this world gives me is the knowledge that this is an unknown quantity comparative to a bad known quantity. We get to decide here, Kitto. We get to decide that they're gonna like us. I never got to do that.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And yeah, you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, believe me. 7 years of being captain, it never lets up.
Yeah, I know.
But you gotta make some choices that make it worth it.
Yeah.
If they decide that our civilization is worth taking, then we have a fleet of people willing to stop them.
Yeah. It's just all quite. We've been here for what, a few hours now, and you know, Hathor almost sounds like a politician himself. I don't mean that in a bad way, but
No, he is
in that environment, and Cacula is so Cacula about the whole thing, and you know exactly what I mean.
How badly did he stick his foot in it?
No, I'm not necessarily saying that.
He is grinning.
No, it went okay. It was another one of those, it could have gone badly, but it was fine. And then Ezra is interested in the technology side, and they've got the tricity stuff in the lights that he's interested in, and all that stuff. And I don't like.
You don't know where you fit.
No.
Arthur tells me you've been having dreams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you should take a wander down to the water.
Yeah.
First time you've seen it.
It was great, wasn't it? On the way over.
Wasn't it? Isn't it so big? I wasn't expecting that.
Stop it, Gabriel.
I didn't say anything.
You did not need to.
Shut out.
You said it in
Get
such
off
a
of the
sexy tone
call.
of voice. You were like, it's so big. I
I-
wasn't expecting that.
I hope it
That is not how she said it, and you know it.
is not how Frostline talks.
Oh my.
Oh my.
I thought you meant Kitto. I thought you meant Kitto.
No, that's how Frostlion said it.
Oh.
You
And that is how Frostlion talks.
fuck off.
It is kind of her Frostline talks, I've got to say.
Oh, hello, Bond.
Frostline really be like, I never learned how to read.
Everybody should listen to Kill James Bond's good podcast. Anyway,
I'm going on an adventure.
I understand. Not knowing where you feel like things should go, and not knowing if you have like a place, but I don't think that actually if you speak to any other member of the crew, they will feel any different.
Yeah.
This is new for all of you, and just because they don't look like they're terrified doesn't mean they aren't.
Yeah.
You know?
I will go and
Atri is like, I'm totally fine, and I'm like, you've spoken 3 octaves higher than usual for the last 4 hours, Atri.
Yeah.
Quite impressive.
That is quite impressive. Did that hurt?
Yes, it did. I think Torrance has started wearing earplugs.
Well, sure. Sorry, Karen.
You know these people, Kitto.
Yeah. I'll try and talk to them. And go for that walk as well. I don't really know which direction. Or do I?
I mean, you can see the sea from...
Oh, can we see the sea? Is it coastal?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, more coastal. The city itself is set back off the beach, but the sky docks are like in the sand. Like you can see the sea from where you are.
They are docks.
Yeah, they're docks, but they're like raised up so that the sky ships can land. But yeah, they are actually on the sea.
Yeah. Do you need food or anything picking up? The bread is weird. The other thought it was weird at least.
Interesting. We'll actually go out and, or I say we. I mean, I will send members of my crew who it is their job to go find things.
Are you really not stepping off this ship?
I don't know. Unknown ground.
It's what you wanted. Seems a shame not to go see it.
We will go and find some of this weird bread we talk about.
Okay. Yeah.
Please take the dragon with you. Please.
I wonder if they have a... Wait, we don't have a concept of volcano, do we?
Yes, there are some in the Baywick range. They are you've never seen one, but they are a known quantity.
We would have a concept of kennels.
So it's not a volcano. Kitto would then, in that analogy, be, I wonder if they have a mountain with a big hole in it that we can throw the
No, it would
a whole mountain.
Dragon for your hole.
Yeah, a whole mountain. Like there are some volcanoes in the Baywick range. It is a volcanic area, so like you are aware of what volcanoes are.
Yeah, I wonder if they've got a volcano around here and we can just drop it. What? I don't
think you should drop the baby dragon into a volcano, Kitto. Don't think that's very good for it.
It doesn't like you, so what do you know?
Gabriel is his child.
He doesn't dislike me.
Sure, it really hates me.
Why?
I don't know. I tried talking to it interconic.
Oh.
Maybe it was a bad idea.
Maybe.
Maybe it won't speak interconic. Anyway,
We'll take it.
Please, thank you. Take the baby dragon.
Because it
you and doesn't try and eat things or annoy Cassandra.
Yes. Poor Cassandra.
Poor oven.
The oven is gonna get trashed. Anyway, we're gonna be here trying to do some repairs.
Yeah,
a little bit battered for the dragons and the birds. Some holes in the ship, not great.
Yeah. Go find the others then and work out what we're doing the bloody Archfey.
Look, they might surprise you. They might be okay. And if they're not, you can just not talk to them again.
Yeah. That sounds good. I have a feeling they might follow
Still
us.
have a ship. We can go somewhere else. There are lots of places now. Let's just fucking leave.
Yeah, do you want a copy of the map?
Please. Great. Excellent. I would love one.
Yeah, Kitto doesn't have, but at some point that will happen. So yeah,
Mechanically, yes.
yes.
Frostlion is of the if you don't like it, you can hit the bricks vibes.
Hit the bricks.
Literally his whole life.
His whole life is if you don't like it, you can just leave. You can just fucking go. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. He is very much
OMG, bestie, same brain.
same brain. He's very much if it sucks, hit the bricks. He did it his whole
I
life.
mean, that is
failed.
also Kitto as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they're like, you could just go somewhere else. There are other
Yeah.
places.
They're made for each other.
yes.
Sounds a good plan, to be fair.
He
So they have their first argument and they both go, if it sucks, hit the bricks. There's a relationship.
And they go to different continents forever.
Yep. Okay.
We'll find Hathor, but just, yeah, let me know if you need anything. And you deep breaths, okay? Both of us.
I can do it together.
Yep.
Meditative breathe. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about.
Stay mindful, Frostline.
Yes.
This boy
shut up.
never done self-care in his life.
He doesn't understand the word.
Good
Installs
night and
headspace
good
into his phone.
mental health.
Ezra, did you go see Atri? And
I did.
Hathor did you go with?
Yes, Hathor went with. Hathor laid on the floor in the way and quietly went.
Basic.
Where? Hathor followed them down to the engine room and
Okay.
found a patch of floor to lie on.
Atri is looking at you like. Hathor, are you gonna get up at any point, or are we just gonna like do? What is happening?
You can like shove me under a table if you like.
No, I prefer not to.
I could give you a talk about thermoregulation.
Absolutely.
What? Okay. Why are you here? Let's start there.
Why am I here?
Both of you. Why have you come down here? What do you want?
Ah, yes. The electro-jabob stuff. Right. Okay. So people here, you know how we use steam for most of our stuff?
Yes.
They don't. They use things that light up, called electricity. It's a way of technology, like it's a way technology functions here that they've recently learned that harnesses.
Non-magical. It was described to me
Aye.
non-magical, but magical-like energy found on the material plane.
Like-
It produces light and heat.
Okay. He like rifles in the pocket and pulls out a notebook and starts flipping through it. I had postulated some ideas about the way that steam functions in turning like heat and power into movement, and whether or not you could refine that into turning it to other things. So that's pretty interesting.
Well, I'm going to ask if I can take a light bulb. Is what they call it. I think it's a good example of it, and bring it back to the ship for us both to try and take a look at and see if we can decipher it.
I love you,
You're just
Ruth.
gonna have a light bulb. It will not be connected to anything.
I
It'll
love
just be
you
a
so
fucking
much.
I
light
love
bulb.
this is gonna be so hilarious. Ezra's
As
gonna
a
walk
light
into
bulb.
someone. Ezra's gonna walk into an inn and be like, "Hello, could I have your contraption? I believe it's called napkin."
Yeah.
Like that is the vibe of the
That is the
conversation he
vibe.
will have, and they'll be like, "Sure."
Look, it's the only time I'm ever gonna have an in-law reason to say I've got a bright idea while holding a light bulb. Like
That's so
this is
true.
just a long
That's so
play.
true.
This is a long game.
We should like. I know that they aren't quite that common or cheap yet, but I would love to take Ezra to like a hardware store where they have like the big walls
Yes.
full of different light bulbs. He'd just be like,
The accurate equivalent is, hello, I've heard that you have the contraption called a pot washer, and I'd like to see one. Like,
I believe it's called
Traveller,
dishwasher.
Yeah.
dishwasher seller. I
Right.
need your finest dishwasher from going into battle.
Okay. So you think you can get one of these bulbs? Okay.
And I don't think I need to steal it. I wouldn't do that anyway. We've
What
just
time
landed
said
here.
no stealing?
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I wouldn't need to at all. Like, no one would need to. They don't seem too fussed about them. As in, like, they'd probably be happy just selling me one. Or,
I don't think these lights are government mandated, so surely you could purchase them from somewhere. Like, if they are available to put in your homes, you can buy one. Assumedly. I mean, that's how everything works.
I mean, I was gonna just go off the ship and talk to someone.
That also works.
Yeah, okay.
Aye, that works.
Would you like to come with us? We're also going to go map hunting.
That I care less about. But make sure the captain gets one. And also Opal. They both need them.
Aye.
We'll buy several maps.
Okay. So, we will take a 5-minute break and then reconvene with everybody together.
Can I just do a quick note about what Cacula was doing?
Yes.
Which was, he went into the bunk room with the dragon and lay in a bunk with the dragon on his face, patting it.
Oh.
It's all going well with the party.
Yeah. He's processing. Everyone shut up. He's shifting into processing mode.
Yeah. Okay. Right. We will take 5 and then we'll come back and reconvene.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress.
Glad that we all do the same thing.
Hello, David Attenborough.
So for each, and because I do actually want to finish. Slightly quieter, please. Dual Destiny's music.
I was going to say,
is
it time to go to court?
It's time to go to court right fucking now. It's the Dual Destinies theme. Because I cannot be bothered with doing everything, and also I would like you to finish this arc, this session. We're gonna skip you. You definitely get maps. I don't know how electricity works enough to talk you through the invention of electricity. So you're not gonna get it.
GCSE physics, Aleks. Now.
I did do GCSE physics. I was very bad at it. I don't remember shit.
I do.
No, we're not having a conversation about how electricity functions. I don't know how the invention happens.
You heat up a thing, it spins really fast, it makes energy.
Oh yeah, I know that.
There you go.
That's how steam works as well.
Yeah.
That's how all energy works. That doesn't tell me how that becomes electricity.
That's energy, baby!
Energy. The movement of that object creates electricity.
That's also how all energy works.
Yeah.
Okay. So the fun thing is that Ezra, you're like, this is so new and wild, and actually is like, no, it's just how steam works as well. Just they managed to make it better.
No, it is different. I think
it is different because that's not how. Like that's how you power. Anyway, we're not doing this.
Okay.
Rather than.
Are they already know it?
Yeah.
They
Rather
don't
than
want to create steam power.
Rather than putting it on using the steam directly, you put it that you can store the energy on a battery. What they've invented is the wires and the battery, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So functionally, Atri is like, oh, they've just actually invented the thing that I wanted. Great, cool, fabulous. Because I know how the energy works and I know how the transfer works. Also, he's very amused by the fact that you try and bring him a light bulb, which of course then does fucking shit because there's no circuit. You've just brought him a disconnected light bulb. He's like, this does not assist in any way, shape, or form, Ezra. You have to have a power source for it. This is just a thing.
Okay.
This is like bringing me the insides of an engine.
Okay, I'm a quick learner, but I've got buggery all inside my head until something's put in there. So now I know for future.
Okay, right. That's okay. Yeah. But yeah. So you find maps. That's fine. You actually gets excited about electricity, but also is amused by the fact that Ezra just tries to explain electricity using a light bulb, and he's like, no, this is just a like. We could have done this with steam. It would have worked. Just isn't relevant or useful for us to do that. So
I was excited.
Oh no, he's very excited about it because it's basically like the answer to a lot of theories that he had. He had a lot of theories about being able to store energy in a way that would be functional and useful, and couldn't work out how to do it. So basically, it's a lot of theoretical answers for action, which is he's very excited about. So yes, that happens. Kitto, you take that walk.
Yeah.
The sea is oddly calming. It is very soothing to be there, and you do notice what appears to be like a ramshackled shrine, not a temple as such, but like a driftwood shrine to the Seaforged King, which is the first example really you've seen of, because there isn't a temple to the Seaforged King within the bounds of Utopia. You know of the deity, but you don't know anybody who's ever worshipped them. They're not really relevant to Utopians, so it is the first time you've seen anything, and it gives you a bit of pause.
Yeah. You will settle down there for a little bit.
Yeah, it's peaceful. You don't get any visions or anything like that, but you are reminded that you were told to find a temple.
Yeah. I have not forgotten. It's more like that's probably not a priority right now. Also, we have maps, so.
Oh, so you do have maps. Yeah, you do get maps. You get maps of the island of Ven. You get maps of the whole of Growald. You get maps of the Mackennian Islands. So you have those as well. They're very much like you can find maps of other. Like they are happy to also give you maps of other the islands. So you get a map of the island of Torwale as well, which is where you're going next. And so you now have those maps. And unless there's anything else,
and a light bulb.
Unless there's anything else people want to do before bed, I'm going to skip to the next morning.
I want to make note that we made enough that Hathor can put one of each type of map in the bag of holding for Morkan.
Okay.
When we get back to Utopia.
To be honest, you can. They're not massively cheap because map making is hard, but you know that already because Morkan does that. But let's say for 10 gold, you can get enough that you have enough for Frostlion, Opal, and some for yourself and for Morkan. So you can get 4 versions of the maps for 10 gold.
Cool.
So somebody needs to.
I'll fork out for that.
You got it. Okay. So, but yeah, we will jump to the next morning. Back at the Eversummer Court. You head in early, and it's like 9 a.m. and the city is usually busy. It feels quite nice to know that the city is also like comfortably busy at this time in the same way that Utopia would be. And you head up, and the drow who you'd seen the day before, who was sat like at the desk, looks up as you walk in. Ah, you're back. Great. Counselor, ready to see you if you want to just head through the double doors.
Right. Thank you.
Heads on through.
Yeah. You head through the double doors, and actually it's a little bit of a more informal setup this time. They're no longer sat around their big council table. They seem to have just they just actually are stood gathering in the corner about what appears to be coffee. And you come in, and Iglar, the centaur, turns around and goes, "Good morning. Would you like some coffee or tea?"
That would be lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd love some tea.
Hi. I love some coffee. Thank you.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Come over. And they invite you over, and you are given coffee for the first time that actually contains caffeine.
Whoa.
Because coffee in your reality is like roasted wheat that tastes like coffee but does not actually contain any caffeine. So be aware that if you decide to drink coffee, this is the first time you've ever experienced caffeine.
So in 15 to 20 minutes, you guys are all like,
Yep. It does taste very similar. It doesn't feel odd to you. Like, you don't taste it and go, you're like, oh, this is a little bit different, but it doesn't taste.
You don't taste it and go, I'm being poisoned.
You don't taste it and go, what the fuck is this? It is not coffee. You're like, nah, it's coffee. maybe a weird type of coffee, but it tastes like coffee. To you, anyway.
If Atri has
Oh my
ADHD.
god, actually...
No, but if Atri has ADHD, it won't affect him.
This is true, actually would not be affected by the coffee. And they don't go back to sitting around their table. They like pull the chairs around and bring you some chairs over, and it feels a lot less like you're talking to a court and a lot more like you're just having a conversation with these people.
Have we brought the dragon with us?
Please have brought the dragon with you.
Yes.
You had to have the dragon out of here.
Yes.
Frostline was like, it is gonna cause so much damage to the ship. Please take it away.
And we can't really just say, oh, we found a baby dragon, because that's not the point. The point is that the baby dragon is a fey baby dragon.
Yeah. Find the dragon.
If it's like at that point, like when someone kind of asks, that's when I'll kind of divulge. Oh,
yeah.
Like
We'll go to it.
I was just checking
You do have it with you, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming people are side-eyeing like Ezra and Cacula as they, casually pass the dragon back and forth between them.
Yeah.
Because they like collect their coffee and tea and stuff.
It's Gideon who first mentions it. They take a second and go, you have a small dragon?
Yes,
I mean,
we
two
do.
small dragons, but the one on your shoulder I kind of assumed was a pseudo dragon. That one is just a little dragon.
Yes.
Yes.
That was one of the things we wanted to talk to you, actually.
Yeah.
Ezra, do you want to explain? It's kind of your story more than ours.
Okay, you're right. So do you know when we were saying earlier about how the part in specific about how some people came from here to where we were through portals, set up a life there, and then disappeared?
Yes.
That might have been my mother.
Right.
And this dragon was planted as an egg with illusionary magic hidden inside of my pet dog. The metal construct, not the real. Yeah.
It wasn't hidden by illusory magic. Valana speaks up. No, that... If I'm right, and I'm no expert, but I should know a little about these kinds of things. To argue that it was planted by illusory magic is to not understand. This creature is directly fey. It likely has inbuilt illusory magic to protect itself.
Right. That's okay. It makes sense why it was there, given that Damocles is nice and warm and a good like space for it to grow and be safe as well. It's just, yeah, I found out from a letter where she came from, and that I actually have extended family there, and that's kind of where I want to go next.
Can we assist you in getting there? Iglar asks.
That was question number 2.
It would mean the world to me to be able to...
Where are you looking at going?
It's a town called Genoris in Cloyphilum.
We don't have... Cloyphilum's not part of the part of our trade routes.
Okay.
It's not... that is... I mean, I can direct you physically, but I can't... One, I can't guarantee safety on the journey, and 2, I can't give you a teleportation circle, for example, like
No,
I could to Torwell or Nemna or like that.
That's okay. Just even a general direction and rough what it's like there. And if you say...
Cloyphilum is an interesting space. I've been once or twice on business. It's got certainly some fascinating... I've only ever been to Ulra's Nox, admittedly, which is the capital. Some fascinating wildlife in Cloyphilum. Just some... Really, the Carino set are incredible. incredible species. But I've only ever been to Ulrasnox, which is the capital. Yonoris, I don't know. It's probably not. I don't know the civilization well enough. It's it's further south. It has areas that get to tundra and colder areas when you start to get further south. Large woods, large mountainous areas in the center. It's a significantly technological space as Ulrasnox, more technology based than arcane, I would say. It has a similar council to us, the Geroni, they're called, but they are they're an independent body. They don't hold any sway with the Luminous Airs. Although I do believe there was an invasion a while ago, a long time ago.
Okay.
By the Luminous Airs, which went very poorly due to the Torino.
Right. Poorly for which side, might I ask?
DM.
Okay.
Invading a place that has creatures that are larger than buildings that are somewhat defensive of that space is not a great idea.
And I'm guessing that's also why the trade route hasn't been established, because they're big beasties that are very defensive of the area.
Oh, the people of, I mean, as I said, the people of Cloyphilum work very well with the Carino set. They are an intelligent species.
Right.
They don't speak common, but they are an intelligent species.
Right.
Somewhat respected in their culture and society. But they are defensive of the people as much as they are defensive of their home.
Right.
The trade route doesn't exist because it's not close and they don't need anything from us.
That's fair.
That's kind of it.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay. I would be, if there's anything that can be done for that, I would be more than appreciative, honestly. It's one of my main motivations for wanting to come as well.
Sure. I mean, we can at least, well, if not us, the Luminous Eyes will definitely be able to give you some more information about that, though I would not go through their channels, as it were. But,
right.
you know, speaking of, we managed to get you an audience. They are open to you turning up whenever, so you have a couple of choices. We can teleport you there. We have that ability, though you do have your own travel, so if you do not wish to be teleported there and back, that is completely understandable. Solik, the capital of Torwell, is... For us, it would only be a week on skyship, not even that. I'm not sure how fast your skyship is, though, comparative to our own, so I would not know specifically.
Well, we do about 60 feet per round.
Give a measurement in knots, I would say.
Yeah, Hathor will give a rough estimate.
Okay, so that won't quite double the time. It would take you maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Especially if you stick to the safer trading lanes, which you would not necessarily find any issues with large animals. Or we can teleport you there and back. We have a teleportation circle in the back. Either is completely functional.
Okay.
Right.
Do you have any idea how long this audience might be, or how long they'd need us there for?
A couple of hours.
Right.
Maybe a few days if they wanted something from you.
Because I'm thinking if it would be a few days, it would be best maybe to take the ship, and Cacula will kind of look around. But if a few hours, it might be easier to take the teleport.
We obviously couldn't just disappear off the island without informing our compatriots of where we've gone.
Of course not.
Either way.
Yeah. We would consider and reconvene, especially considering we would have to inform our captain and get their approval in some way. Hathor will say, and get their approval, glancing about the rest of the group, like, I know I don't fucking need Frostlight's approval.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Go with me.
Of course. That, I mean, whichever is easiest is very much our assistance here. We are happy to help in any way that we can. At least getting you there, considering they have been certainly have had their interest piqued by an audience.
I can imagine. The other question we would be asking, rather ludicrously, is you don't know any fey dragons, do you?
There aren't any here. Oh, Elgar looks over at Valina and she shakes her head. No. There are possibly some in Torwale or some of the other islands. Our island is far too small to support a dragon population. I would dare say that the Luminous Heirs are the people you would want to talk to about that. If not them, they will have retainers on hand who would know more.
Okay, that's definitely a start and something we would want a conversation with them with for. Hello,
Hi, Juno.
Code.
Also, I would like to ask my question as well, but at
Go
some
for
point.
it. Go for it. When.
Yeah. One more thing, if you don't mind, it's kind of glances across at Hathor, like, am I allowed to speak?
It isn't like when they were sat at the table, it was like all eyes on you. Like this is much more like a couple of people look up, but a couple of people are like still drinking their tea and coffee, so it's a bit more like.
She's like a big microphone, you know, like they have at radio stations. Hello. I was wondering, do you know of any locations of temples for the Seaforged King? It's not urgent, but just.
Oh, there is a small one here. Gideon nods. Yes, I know the guy who runs it. There's a small temple. If you head into the city a little bit, there's a small temple here.
Oh, right.
There are larger temples in other areas, I must admit. But the Seaforged King is a fairly common deity out here. We are islands after all. So most coastal towns that you'll find have at least one temple to them.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
If you head out of and then Gideon gives you directions.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you.
We would also personally be looking into new medical advancements you guys have made opposed to us. You have technological advancements well beyond our capabilities, and there are issues that have us stumped in some ways.
There's kind of like a look around, and then Josh says, I'm afraid without a baseline knowledge of what advances you have made, I wouldn't know where to begin.
I could give you a vaguely rough rundown. We have clerics who have sort of this level of clerical ability. We have doctors who can perform these kinds of things.
Yeah, okay. Right, yes.
We're past the point that a scratch means death.
We don't have anything. I guess the only thing that we've managed to achieve that you would be is kind of beyond what you've done is some more effective methods of surgery, but and increases amount of cleanliness. But I presume that is also a thing that is functional on your island.
Yes.
Yes.
If we were looking into also arcane ailments as well.
Well, if you're looking into something like that, you'd want to go to Estrian. She is resting.
She's resting. You can't see her, but she's right here.
Love her. Estrian is further over. You want to go west. She like pulls out the map again and shows you where Estrian is. And Estrian is so the island itself is on a weak point between Gaban and Etrea. So it is the seat of most arcane power in the world, is Estrian. I guess if you want to, Gulf Thalor, the capital, has an incredibly powerful medical university called, where is the notes I have on Estrian? Called the Laxreth University. It's basically the most well-known university in the entirety of Growl, I would say. It's very well known for its magical capabilities, and its power and its effectiveness. So I would say if you're looking for anything arcane, you'd want to go to Estrian. It's not far from here. Maybe similar amount of time to get to Torwale as it would be to get to Estrian, but then it's a little bit further to get over to Galfdalor.
It's not desperately pressing, but thank you.
Yes, but I must admit that is my only advice. And also, if you were asking about temples to the Seaforged King, Estrian is possibly has the highest concentration. I believe there's a fairly significant temple to the Seaforged King in Galfdalor. So it'll be a good place to also look for those.
Right. Okay. This sounds like a good plan overall.
Yes. So, audience, go and speak with your captain, and we can set you up in any way, if that's directions to the shipping lanes or travel magically. Either would function. I cannot predict how long the audience would be, so possibly safer if you take your own transport.
Mm-hmm.
Right, thank you.
Aye.
But it has been great to meet you.
Are there any questions that you have for us?
You must understand your whole reality to us is new and fascinating, and there are so many ways we can learn from each other, but I also recognize that you didn't seem thrilled about the idea of being ambassadors, so I would not push that luck.
We, when we set out, we really saw ourselves as explorers, I suppose. It's a responsibility we perhaps should have, but didn't anticipate. I'm sure we'll come round to the idea. And I'm always in favour of knowledge, and if you would like those kinds of questions, then I'm happy to answer them.
Aye.
I'm sure there are many things we can learn from each other, but we wouldn't be talking trade deals, we'd be maybe talking language differences here, you know. But those are kind of conversations we can have at a later date, I guess.
Mhm.
So, yes, go speak with your captain, and we will assist in any way we can.
Thank you
Thank you.
for your hospitality.
Aye.
You are always welcome here, should you desire to come back at any point. Okay. Again, I'm gonna speed run if you guys are gonna take the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about a 10-day journey, but you do not experience any issues. They literally appear to have like safe lanes, as it were. Like you don't encourage like it's not like traffic. You don't have like lots of. You see a couple of skyships, but you don't have like actual roads. But you are directed on a path to follow that Opal then can map that appears to be safer than most areas. So you don't get the same kind of issues you had with random dragons attacking you. So the journey is calm. Kitto, did you want to go to the temple here before you leave, or did you want to go to another one later?
Well, I wouldn't hold, or he wouldn't hold up anything for it.
Okay.
So if people were like, let's go, then we're going.
We would
Okay.
need at least like to let the ship know we had 10 days worth of food stock, right?
Yeah, but they've been stocking anyway for the last day
Okay.
and a half because they had no stocks whatsoever, so it wouldn't be that difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, it is. So that's fair. That's fair. As you were told, there are many. This is
Yeah. It wouldn't be like priority number one.
Yeah. You definitely can find others very easily. The island of Torwale, as it comes into view, is a very interesting space. It is large and long. Let me put the map of Torwale up for you, actually, because I can do that. It's large and long and has this huge forested area with these significant, which backs into these tall highlands that remind you a lot of the Baywick Range, and and also your home in a way that is like, that feels familiar. And you're coming like across this way. And it's this weird kind of circular curved island, and you can see the other skyships coming in and out of several areas. You can see the skyships coming out of Ostia and the over here and traveling that way, out of Melian and traveling that way, out of Maldon and traveling north, and out of the Piers of Allura and traveling the other way. It appears to be a buzz and a hive of activity. The path that you're given takes you directly over most of these areas, and you see a lot of skyships flying at a lot lower level than you, as well as a lot faster, at a space that you're like, this is so speedy. Why can they go so fast?
I'm picturing us like on a little electric scooter on the motorway kind of thing, like just trying to stay as much to the side as possible.
Yeah. And you crest over, and as you come over the Aurum Forest and the Aurum Woodlands, you see the city of Solek, which is this huge city with these large citadel-like areas, and you can see like a palace in the center that is made of glass and shining lights. It has a lot of airships coming and going from it, and it is a walled city with the big walls that come round it, though it does appear to have a beach behind it as well as it coming into the woodlands. Let me find the image of Solek for you. There it is. It's architecturally fey, in a way that the Elven Glades is, and you guys had been to the Elven Glades. It's very architecturally fey in the same way.
It's like fancy Elven Glades, basically.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is an image of Rivendell. Yeah, but it is much bigger, and the citadel is in a weird kind of beautiful glass, and as you come in and kind of the Stargazer docks back up again, this time you gain a smaller crowd, but not in a way of like, there's a lot of people standing and staring, but they don't seem to like drop everything and come running. There's just a lot of people who turn and stare at the weird skyship, but you don't get the same kind of huge crowd that you did at Morgift.
Maybe we just landed on Morgift when it was like lunch break.
Yes, it was weird time.
We just accidentally got there at lunchtime on a Friday, and everyone was like, "Fuck, look, this is so cool."
The circus is here a day early. Weird.
Yeah. You are met actually by a entourage at the docks. As you step off the ship, there is a elven man, high elf, with long white hair, pulled back in a ponytail. He looks to be in his mid-30s or 40s, and he has two guards stood next to him that are in very fine armor. And he bows his head and goes, "You are of the Utopians, yes?"
That would be us.
We were informed of your arrival by or of your imminent arrival by the court of the Eversmith Court of Ven. Please, this way. And the city itself, as you're led through, is bustling in a way that reminds you very much of home. There are lots of people who just don't pay any attention to you because they're clearly going about doing their things. It's slightly higher concentration for Fae. You find a lot more elves than you're used to. Eladrin, moon elves, dark elves, sun elves. There are lots of elves. It is. It also has like a lot of. You see a lot of guards in uniform, which gives you a little bit of pause for thought, because the only guards you've ever seen have been probably actively hunting you, but they don't pay that much attention to you, and they seem to be like just standing around to make sure that nobody starts a fight. It also appears to have a less significant like centaur and satyr population. You see like one or maybe two, but not in the same way that you were looking at Moorgift, which had like several. It does also have a population that you've not seen before, and you've seen a couple of, which are Hairgone, which are rabbit people. Again, you've never seen a rabbit person, and there's a couple, and you're like, what? You've seen rabbits, but they've never like been humanoid and just wandering around. So that's fun. It's not like you've never seen a similar thing happen. Obviously, there are Tabaxi and Grung, but Hairgone are new to you at least.
It's like logically it makes sense that this person exists, but at the same time,
yeah, it's that moment. What? Yeah. And you are led through the city, through the winding roads, and past the people bustling into an inner tiered wall, which there is just this huge palace of glass and mirrors and iridescent painting. And the elven man gives you a slight nod and says, "Welcome to the Palace of Illumination. I am aware you are unaware of our customs, so I guess the only one would be, when referring to the luminous heirs, please refer to them as monarch. Your majesty would be perfectly acceptable. Though we will understand if you mess up. We are as unaware of your customs as you are of ours. But please, come through." And you are led into this palace. You're led through this huge hall, and even Kitto and Cacula, who grew up in finery, this is finery like you've never seen it. This is glory upon glory in a way that is insane to you. Admittedly, it feels slightly different because as you were walking through the city, you didn't notice like the level of poverty that Utopia has, where it's like the rich people have lots and the poor people have nothing. Most of the people you walked past, even walking through like most of the city and looking around, seemed to be middlingly well off. Like they seemed to have money, or they seem to not have threadbare clothing.
They're at least comfortable, even if they have to work a lot to achieve that.
Yeah, you don't see the kind of wealth gap that you are used to, I would say.
Hathor is like, where have they put all the poor people?
Cacula is also like, where have they put? We're all like, where have they put all the
the
poor
Valley
people?
Olympics.
Where are your peasants?
But at least the people you haven't seen any serfs, you haven't seen any slaves, you haven't seen anybody who looks actively impoverished.
We're like, where are your peasants? Where did you put them? Bring them back.
Yeah.
I wish to see the peasants.
The wonderful peasants of ours.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, it's not relevant.
We wouldn't know. Let us find out.
Not here, because it's a capital city, and that's not how.
I was going to
say
Hathor will be like, they've got a big place. They'll have put them on the other side of the continent.
No, it's not. It's not. Anyway, we're not dealing with that right now. It's not relevant. You are led through this hall, and there are these two large furnished oak doors with wheeling gold and a silver filigree. And the elf who had brought you in kind of stands up and raps 3 times on the doors, like, and then the doors swing inwards, and you are led into this long, almost long sweeping chamber. It reminds you a little bit of the various like largish chambers you've been in the schools. Like you have great halls and things like that. It reminds you a little bit of that. And it's lined with guards. There we go. We have to call the luminous heirs. And you can put yourselves on the map. But none of the guards seem to be like doing anything or staring at you or making any move to stop you as you are led up to the pedestal, up to the front. And stood at the head, stood above what appeared to be 3 thrones. are 3 archfey. They look elven to a degree, but elven in a ethereally beyond elven way. They give you a slight bow, and the elf who'd been leading you up gives a nod and steps backwards. And the one on the far left steps forward and says, "Hello. 'Tis very good to be greeted by people who are not from our own space. This is quite new for all of us. I suppose we shall start with introductions of ourselves, and then we can discuss your own names. I am Ralan, the Monarch of Sunlight. I'm going to ping all of their names for you because they are weirdly spelled. All of them use
Sorry,
they, them.
it's just I typed ramen and it autocorrected it to ramen.
Yes, yes.
So I think you'll find this is actually ramen. The
Ramen.
leader of
Yep,
the
that's
night.
ramen.
Yeah, so this is Ralan, Monarch of Sunlight. All of their pronouns are they, them. Archfey do not believe in gender.
Nice.
And then the individual next to them steps forward and inclines their head. Wonderful to meet you. I'm Carvel, Monarch of Sunlight. You notice it's difficult to tell age, like at all, because they are archfey, but Ralan appears to be the oldest, and Carvel appears to be the youngest. And then third individual steps forward and inclines their head. And I'm Lyris, Monarch of Moonlight. And they kind of give you a little smile. So, who are you?
I'm taking notes. Give me a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, taking notes. I'm
Hi,
Dad.
taking notes. I'm Dad. Go on, Ezra.
Well, hello. My name is Ezra Barakova, and this is my my pet Damocles.
Hathor, Ermik, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Cacula Scops, likewise.
Kitto Wakenshaw.
Such interesting names. Very different from our own naming conventions. Ralan appears to be the one who does most of the talking. Carvel and Lyris both kind of defer to them. Welcome to Torwale, to Solik, to the Palace of Illumination. We are the Luminouses. We are the heads of the Empire of Light. That is Lyris kind of... What? Okay. Cacula, you have a passive insight, right, of 19.
I believe so.
What's everybody else's passive insight? So 10 plus your insight modifier, please.
Yeah, mine's
10.
19.
19. Kitto?
16.
Okay, Ezra?
So it's, what was it? Sorry, I couldn't hear the first bit.
Your insight mod.
10 plus insight. 15.
Okay, so Hathor, you don't necessarily get this, but the rest of you, when Ralan describes it as the Empire of Light, they seem to describe it as the Empire of Light with a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouths. Like they don't enjoy the word empire, and Lyris actively looks uncomfortable. Carvel looks very proud. You sense that there is some tension between them concerning their expansionist tendencies. You sense that that's not necessarily a thing that they all necessarily want. And Ralan continues, we are the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of Archfey who travelled to this reality, I suppose, to grow old, during the reality fracture around 52,000 years ago. We have held this position for a very long time. Our forebears have also held it. We are very interested to meet new people, I suppose, would be our way of saying things. And for you to ask us what you... I'm sure we can share information in a way that would be acceptable to both parties.
Yes, that would be most beneficial, I'm sure. I am going to have brought the dragon with me, not assuming that we will be invited a second time.
Yep, no,
not
that's
because of any reason, just in case.
Yep, no, very fair, very fair. Lyris actually is the one who notices the dragon first and goes, "You have a dragonling."
Yeah.
The pseudo-dragon upon your shoulder, begging your pardon, sir, looks to be of age and of their own independence, but the dragonling is not.
Yes, this is one of our central questions. Although it kind of pertains not particularly to where we're from, rather our personal circumstances. Ezra?
Hi. Well, we are from Utopia, but due to events and revelations, I discovered my mother was actually from here.
Here where? This from Torwale itself?
In particular, Genoris.
There's a moment where they all pause and turn and look behind them, and there's a silence for a second, and then another woman steps forward. You had noticed that there are other people stood behind them. They appear to be retainers of some sort, but the woman who steps forward is a spitting image of your mother, like facially completely perfect. Right. And she steps forward and she goes, "On the island of Cloyphilim."
Forgive me for asking, is your name Nightingale?
It is. Nightingale Therizan. You are the son of Ren Therizan.
I know her as Ren Barakova, my mother.
She got married.
She did. Hello.
Hello. This is not the space for this reunion.
No,
she bows her head and steps back, and admittedly the Luminous don't look upset at all. They look, they're almost encouraging, and they're like,
I imagine they're like, this is already so entertaining. I'm so glad we invited these people here.
Yeah, that's so great. Fucking lit. Yeah, they are not upset. And Lyra says, "Perhaps afterwards we can have a bit more of a conversation about that, Nightingale." And she nods. "Yes, my lady. Yes, Your Majesty." And Lyra says, "So this Fey dragon is connected to your mother. How?"
It was stored inside of of Damocles here, specifically next to his internal components that generate heat. It was done without the knowledge of my grandfather, who this originally belonged to. and I only discovered it when, along with a note that was given, which revealed the information I've mentioned, when Damocles sustained damage and I had to repair him. So it was...
Yes, come on. Carvel speaks up. This is not relevant, child. And he gets a very cold look from both Lyris and Roland, but they don't say anything.
Okay.
Cacula will kind of give him an encouraging smile and a nod, like, come on, it's all right.
Okay.
Hashtag not my president.
It's like, essentially, it was hidden inside there to keep a source of heat that would maintain its comfort. It was put there as protection as well, so it probably wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. Hands such as my father's, my grandfather's, to my father, to me. It hatched, and it's now, we've been looking after it, and we're trying to essentially find out who its mother or father is.
We're a little worried. It's perfectly fine and healthy and happy, I think, and he'll give it a little scritch.
Yes, certainly is going to be somebody looking for it, Roland says.
Precisely, I thought,
Yes.
and we really would rather not get on the bad side of that person.
No.
And we really would rather they are able to raise their child.
Peridot, and you see another one of the retainers step forward. A genasi, a water genasi. You have only ever met one genasi in your lifetime. That would have been Infernus Nyrin, who is a fire genasi, but you're like, whoa, she's made of water. That's weird. And she steps forward. Yes, Your Majesty. See what you can find out about a missing dragon. She nods. There has been some conversation from the traders of Estrian about issues concerning dragonkind. I will see what else I can find, Your Majesty. And she stands up and leaves through a back door.
Thank you.
We have many people here to advise us. Peridot is one of our best. She will find out any information she can about any areas that have had any issues. I do believe there are a couple of fey dragons within the Aurum Forest, but none of them have been causing enough trouble for us to consider them to have a missing child. They are very protective of their kin. But if there has been mention of issues of dragonkind in Estrian, it is possible that is where you should look first. Though, take a rest. Do not be running from place to place. There is many spaces for you to go. Besides, you only just got here. I realize we somewhat accosted you straight off your ship, but the city of Solik has much to offer. I suppose, for us, speaking of your ship, would you mind if one of our court engineers took a look at your engine?
We have engineers who I'm certain would be most delighted to discuss mechanics with you.
Fabulous. Your ship is of a very different design to our own, and we would like to understand the way your arcane engines compare to ours.
I'll kind of glance at Ezra and Hathor and say, I'm sure the notion is mutual.
Mm-hmm.
Your Majesty.
Of course, we would be more than willing to let you look at one of our ships.
Equally, if you have any other questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them, I'm sure.
We recognize that you are not politicians, correct?
No,
Right.
simple explorers.
I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose then pass on our message of goodwill to your own people. Rowling gives Carvel a cold glance, and then we would be maybe interested in some possible trade routes, but it is a long way to your settlement, and that would require some logistics, I am sure.
And conversations with people who I'm not quite certain know of the outside world's existence yet.
Yes, we are quite a different area, I am sure.
Mm-hmm.
If that is never to come to pass, we would never hold you accountable for that, do not worry. But it is merely thrilling to be able to open our own borders to new people.
Thank
We
you.
will see what we can do. But thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there any other way we can assist you? Aside from hopefully giving you some advice on what to do with the Fey Dragon.
Your kindness already has been much appreciated, and your information and aid. I am sure we would like to look around your city. Beautiful city.
Very
first.
welcome to the city of Salek. It is, has been built for many generations, and we are very proud of it. Yes, I suppose if you need any, you don't need any medical attention. You haven't had any issues, have you?
No.
Good, good. If so, do let us know, Zogar. And there's the hair gone at the back, kind of flicks an ear at you. Is our resident cleric and healer, the excellent doctor. Have done a lot of good work.
I would I serve as healer on our crew, and I would be interested in discussing what kind of herbs and poultices you have here, if there are any differences.
Zogar gives you a nod and a kind of like, well, of course, Zogar can speak with you about those kinds of things and assist you in that. Well,
Thank you.
No, thank you for meeting with us. It has been quite informative. We shall let you go, of course. Nightingale, Zogar, you are dismissed. And they both kind of nod. And Lyra smiles and says, if you do need anything, please do not be afraid to let us know through one of our attendants. And they just almost without any movement fade into almost nothingness and then moonlight and are gone. Bralin gives you an inclined nod, and then his whole body litters with stars in the same way that Cacula's does, but they sort of make him become see-through, and he vanishes. Carvel gives you a bit of a cocky grin and bursts into sunlight and is gone. Nightingale rolls her eyes and pinches the bridge of her nose. Come, let's get out of the chambers. And you are led out of the chambers by the Hairgon Zogar and Nightingale Thorazan. And they lead you into a small side room, which is less intense. There's still a few statues, but it's much less muchly.
Ostentatious.
So much less ostentatious. And she kind of takes a second.
It's like this is a this is a room for actual business. Like, sure, there's like a couple of gold statues around, but that's more to in keep with the theme of the house.
Yeah, this is like a much more like business type room, and she kind of
like there's a coffee table, a coffee maker.
Yeah.
I guess we'll throw in a statue of Apollo. Sure, fine.
Sure, yeah, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And she kind of rolls her eyes and goes, "Oh dear. Hi. That was quite a meeting, wasn't it?"
I just a bit.
He kind of steps forward to you, Ezra. You look a lot like her.
Go on, say so do you.
We were identical twins, so I
it
hope so.
took me aback. I was too young to remember what she looked like, and it's nice. It's very. Ask me anything, please. I
feel like I should be giving you that opportunity, my child. I certainly knew her longer than you did.
How was she?
Brilliant. More magically gifted than I, and I'm court sorcerer, so that's saying a lot. She never really wanted to do very much with her power, though. She was quiet in her brilliance, charismatic to a T. Very kind. She was always the nice one of the two of us.
Thank you. Definitely sounds very similar to what my dad. Well, the bits I got out of him, but yeah, it's very, very similar.
Yeah.
I wish I knew her better.
Yes. I wish I had known what had happened.
I do. The last thing I got from her, which set all of this off, was a letter. It does. I think it might answer a lot of questions that you've got. And I'm more than happy for you to read it if you wish.
I would appreciate that.
I will hand the letter over.
She looks it over. Just takes a moment. Sighs a little and rolls her eyes. Oh, that fool, meanwhile. He's not a bad man. Please, do not assume evil. He panicked. Autopsy on the Carino set, not really an acceptable cultural thing. And when your mother found out, I didn't know she had found out. He was found out. A little bit later on, but we didn't find her again. It is good to know that she had a good life and family. I have known that she is dead for quite some time. I don't know. Call it whatever you want. I knew.
I hope it at least puts some old questions to rest. I know it did it changed a lot for me, but in a good way.
Yes.
You know, certainly a shock as well.
Yes. I was never expecting to meet any. I didn't realize I was an aunt. And you are what, 22?
23.
Yes. It is good to meet you.
It's good to meet you too, and it's very good to meet you. Sorry, I thought I'd have more to say, to be able to get it out.
You don't need to have more to say. It's okay. I understand.
How what's it like here for you? Just
Oh, I mean, she looks at Zogar, who just like shrugs a little. The heirs are. There's never a dull day. At the Court Sorcerer. They're not bad people. They don't always see eye to eye.
They're people.
They are. For as much as they'd like not to be, they are still people. And they are still. They still disagree on things.
Aye.
At least as Court Sorcerer, I'm just here to make sure that I can convene with various magical individuals. An eye on things magically. That's my job. Zogar, I have to deal with the more complicated stuff. As the medic. Anyway. You said you were a medic too. Cacula, yes?
Of a sort, yes. I'm not particularly trained, and a lot of my healing is magical, but
Oh
I do
no,
have some kind of.
is the same. I would love to be able to confer about those kinds of things.
Wonderful. What kind of herbs and poultices do you use? And I'll kind of like take out my medicine kit and like
Yeah.
have a chat about all of that kind of different
So
stuff.
They go through stuff. So they are like partially.
I'll druid craft a couple of things that I ran out of.
So they
like that.
do have some. So they have quite a lot of levels in cleric. They're a cleric of the open book though, so they are a knowledge-based cleric. So they kind of talk you through like the way that they look at medicine and the way that they look at like dealing with infected wounds and what herbs they use for that. It's a lot of stuff that you have heard of before, but occasionally, oh, you've never heard of this kind of herb that is native, and then they talk you through it and they can show diagrams and things like that.
Cool.
Like there isn't anything new. It's just, oh, these are good things that I can also use.
That's what he wanted basically, is because he's imagining they're going to be out and about in this place at least once, so he just wants to know like.
Yeah, there isn't anything that's like, oh, this is a herb I've never seen before in my. It's like much more like, this is a herb I've never seen before in my life, and a lot less like, they have made penicillin, for example. That you're not there. That's not happened yet. So yeah, it's like a little bit of like they have some more precise methods of surgery, but it's still like using scalpels, which you also use, so it's not really.
Yeah. Well, I guess Cacula doesn't really do surgery because he just like he's a battle medic, you know.
Yeah, and Zogar definitely understands that, and Zogar is much more like, I have been a surgeon, though was a battle medic in his past, so is much more happy to like qualify it to the battle medic stuff rather than the surgery stuff. You get a look then, and Nightingale looks over at Hathor and Kitto and goes, so what did you think of the council? Honestly, there's very much nobody who can hear you here. I'm the one who does the scrying.
Hathor's insight checking that.
Sure.
Yeah, just to be a little bit safe.
Yeah, same. Can I join?
Yeah, absolutely. Roll.
Here, tell me all your state secrets, says Mr. Anderson.
And there's Ezra's aunt.
Yes, I know Ezra's aunt, but I don't want to be.
No, I'm not.
We don't know Ezra's aunt.
Yeah, not.
That's a 25.
Hell yeah. Okay, Hathor,
8.
Hathor, you don't get much. Kitto, you do. She is not expecting you to spill state secrets. She is realizing that they were a bit awkward and not super put together as a group, and she wants to know how you felt about that. She is very truthful in the fact that there is probably nobody scrying on you. She is very much like, I am the person who does that kind of thing, and that is not happening here. She is being honest.
Do you want to pick that up first, Gabriel, or not?
Yeah, Hathor will like scratch the side of his cheek and be like, like I said, they were interesting. There seems to be a little bit of tension between new ways and old.
I picked that up as well.
Carvel is new. He's only been on the council. They've only been in the council maybe 230 years, which is nothing.
30 years before the Empire was born.
Lyris and Ralin are. Ralin doesn't want to shake the boat. They have their own personal issues to tend to. Not really my. And Lyris is willing to fight Carvel, but, well, Ralin will do what it takes to keep the status quo, shall we say. And if that means bowing to Carvel, they'll do it.
Right.
But they don't necessarily like it.
My brain in Claire voice is going, why do the other two simply not kill younger one?
Yeah. Ralin is the eldest, and the has the most to lose if things go wrong, I suppose. So when Carvel comes in shaking things up, they are less inclined to say anything at all. Lyrus has always been an advocate for protection. I've done a little bit of research. They have been very, very strongly. They set up the minimum wage and made sure that the people are fairly paid for their crops and their labor, and across the empire, that's been something that they've been very, very strongly. That's something that they care very deeply about, and Carvel hasn't managed to convince them to stop that at any point. But yes, they are definitely against the war on Bakrian, which is not going very well.
Right.
And it is Lyrus's strong arming that has meant that more nations in Machina have not felt the attempts that Carvel has been putting down. Unfortunately, becoming the Monarch of Sunlight gives you military control. They each have their different things they deal with. The Monarch of Moonlight deals with civic control. The Monarch of Sunlight deals with military control. And the Monarch of Starlight deals with international politics. So, for his youth, Carvel has more power than necessarily functional or good. Nobody ever heard me say that. It's not technically treason to criticize them, it's fine, but I would get fired.
Forgive me asking, how did Carvel come into power? I mean, it's inherited.
It's inherited power, yes. They're the eldest of the family line.
But must there be 3?
Yes. That's very old story, but when the reality fracture occurred, the Fae came through to grow old. I presume you know this?
Somebody else said reality fracture, but it was in a stream of other words that didn't make any sense, so it kind
I'm
of...
wondering if it's something to do with the Lorien collapse.
No, that's the calamity. That's much later. So 52,000 years ago, you were aware of the planes, yes?
That they
Yes.
exist?
And the Kalari.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So 52,000 years ago, the Kalari have a big fight, and there was some tears pulled in Geban, in the material plane. Those tears are from Feyan, the Fey plane, from Abyssan, the abyssal plane, and from Hela, the plane of the 9 hells. And those tears stay open for about 200 years, 250 years. And during that time, people come through and start to set up civilizations. The Fae, the devils, and the demons, which is kind of where they come from. And in that period, many Archfey came through, to the point where there was a somewhat bloody war. Admittedly, there weren't many people on Gerald at the time for it to really affect, but yes, we're talking 50,000 years ago. We're talking a very long time ago. But out of that war came the 3 heads of state that are now here, and to keep the peace between those 3 families, 3 always have to sit, as the Lumina says. Otherwise, well, the only time there's ever been threats of warfare was recently, when Carvel took the throne and pushed for expansionism after the invasion of the island of Ven. There was threats to remove him, and well, that nearly ended in warfare. So it is also why Rallan is so cautious to criticize.
Things are pretty treacherous.
Yes, they are. And as I say, it's not illegal for me to criticize them, it's just possible I would lose the job.
Something rotten in the state of the light. And all
Yeah.
that.
Yes. But that is our politics to deal with, I'm afraid, not yours.
Yes, quite.
Aye.
But yes, if you are looking for an ally, Lyrus is more amenable than Carvel, definitely, and Rollin is often unwilling to do very much. So I would say go to Lyrus.
Do you have any sort of notion of what they would like from us?
Not even Carvel will be stupid enough to try and invade your island. It is not. The best they would want is maybe trade opening. There is trade from here to every part of the world, and they didn't realize there was an option for it. You have things we don't. We have things you don't. Mutually beneficial. That would be it.
Right.
Aye.
At least starting small.
Yes.
I fear that may be a long time coming, but then I suppose as Archfey, they can afford to wait.
Yes.
Honestly,
Yes.
might be pretty tempting.
For our heads of state, most certainly. But I'm not sure whether they would be particularly amenable.
With particular
Maybe the monarch of sunlight.
Aye.
What did you say, sorry, Gabriel?
We'll glance at Cacula and be like, maybe if the monarchs of sunlight were interested in enforcing particular sanctions or requirements for the services, it might make an active change.
Perhaps I'll kind of glance at Kitto and Ezra and be like, perhaps we should put that later. But it's an interesting point.
Very much. Aye. Definitely look into that.
Factory is going to be so excited about the engineers.
Oh yes, I'm sure you'll. They're good people. They're some very good engineers. But
they'll be safe, right?
Yes.
Our people.
Yes. I can scry on them if it would help you ease your mind.
No. I suppose rather used to keeping both eyes open. It's hard to switch off.
You spoke of sanctions, and I get the sense that you are not politically favourable.
I would say our state is in some kind of turmoil.
Aren't they all?
Right.
The details of which I won't get into.
I think it's best to summarize it as our technology is a bit backwards, and so are our politics.
Much to the chagrin of most people who live there, or most people under a certain wage bracket, anyway.
Aye.
And some above.
I see.
The rest of you.
I see. Well, I shall not ask, but I assure you, it would be counterproductive to harm you, if that makes you feel better logically. We don't get anything out of killing you. If we can make allies, we get allies, you know?
Quite. And I sense it's kind of a don't step in Carvel's way and they won't run you down kind of situation.
Yes, I sincerely doubt they care. To be honest, the war in Bakrian is keeping them busy.
Right. Okay.
Luckily. But I am not that kind of advisor. That's not my place to say. Still, come. Let me show you out of the palace. Let me show you at least into the city itself. Find you somewhere to stay for the evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll kind of look at the rest of the gang and be like,
Of course, there's always the option to stay on a ship.
I'm excited to see some of these tradable wares, not gonna lie.
Very fair.
Love tradable wares.
Give me silk!
You can have silk.
Binary.
Silk doesn't come from here, but yeah,
It doesn't come from here, but we selling it.
they do.
Gabriel's like, give me your goods and services.
I want organza.
Yeah. She leads you out into the city proper, and you know what, I think that is where we will finish up
Hey.
with you
Hey.
on the island of Torwale, in the center of the city of Solek, wandering, searching for silk, and we'll finish up there.
Well, not searching for silk.
Hey.
I don't know what it is.
No, I'm sorry. But yes. And welcome to the end of Ezra's arc.
Hey.
Everybody gets a level up.
Got a whole ass relative.
Yeah, she did. There she is. She's the current court advisor.
Hell yeah.
But yes, get your level up.
Level up time.
Keyleth.
It is Art of Keyleth. Appropriate I could find, and I love her.
My brain kept doing some variation on Ezra's. Key's mom has gone. Ezra's Kiki aunt.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Kiki
Fuck.
aunt. Kiki aunt. She's your aunt.
She's got
Wow.
it going on.
Wow. Do you want to roll your hit dice for me, pals?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Something very sexy. Are we ready?
I want to know. So, Ruth, this would be your first level in Paladin, yes?
Yes, it will be.
Which-
Whoa, levels in
Hell
my
yeah.
up.
Paladin, I believe, is a D10. You get to roll.
Oh wowie! I'll bet I'll roll
Right,
less,
roll
though.
20. You better not screw me over. You know how you did me on Claire. What did I just say?
That's
Guys,
a whole ass 8.
Hey!
guess how many hit points I'm on?
Is it
Hey.
nice?
You're looking at it.
It's nice as hell, man. 69.
Nice.
70.
8 for so everybody's taking. So you're taking wizard,
Yeah.
10th level wizard. You're taking first level paladin.
I got a 6th level. Woo!
You now get transport for your plants.
Whoa! How timely.
Yeah. So yeah, you can ping back home whenever. Obviously, you'd have to find plants in the new world, so it doesn't actually negate the use of the Stargrazer because you can't.
Yeah, not at all.
But it does give you the ability to just go home whenever you want, which is really useful.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah,
Very useful.
that's the thing you've got now. I don't know what 11th levels you get. I don't know what you get for 11th as.
I am trying to look now. I think I get the ability to store spells and items. I believe. 11th spell storing item. There we are.
You get the spell story. Great.
I can give people I don't know, some sort of light bulb that has fireball in it.
Kitto
Turn that
get
on.
the ability to do the Divinely Smites.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I don't think you get much else. Do you get access to any spells at first level, Paladin?
I'll have a look.
I know you don't get cantrips. You might get some first level spells.
Oh, hang on. I think I've been doing a me wrong.
Oh.
Oh.
I think my 10th level feature actually gives me resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage.
Oh.
Is that right? That's what this says. Oh, it is the UA though.
That seems like a lot. Give me a second to look up Tasha.
Divine Smite is only second, actually.
Oh, no Divine Smites yet. Well, next level.
I'll have to live. Yeah.
Have to live. Let me look at Tasha's.
Yeah, that was the UA. I just noticed, so they might have changed it.
I'll look at Tasha's because that'll be the most up-to-date one for you, because it was definitely in Tasha's was Druid of the Stars.
Yeah.
Tasha's. Okay.
Ashes. Magic Cauldron.
Magic Cauldron! Circle of the Stars 38. Circle of the Stars.
Because you're a circle full of stars.
There it is. Star map.
Ooh, I get Hero's Feast.
Nice.
Expensive spell, but useful.
That one's really good.
6th level, 10th.
10th level. No, you get that at 14th, darling.
Okay, they must have changed that from the UA.
Yeah. Constellations of your starry form improve. The 1d8 of your archer and chalice becomes 2d8, and whilst the dragon is active, you have a fly speed of 20 feet and can hover. Moreover, at the start of each of your turns whilst in your starry form, you can change the constellation. That has also made it that you can't change the constellation at any point during your turn. It has to be the start of your turn.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I mean, I think I was mostly doing that anyway.
You're mostly doing
wasn't I?
that anyway, but it's like you can't bonus action chalice heal and then go archer. You have to decide to go archer, and then you can't use both features.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't doing that anyway because the archer arrow is also a bonus action.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You can't do.
Yeah. I get you.
Both the benefits in the same turn.
Yeah.
And yes, 14th level, you become partially incorporeal.
I'll be back in a sec. I just need to take the bit out.
You become partially incorporeal, give you resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, piercing damage, but that comes at 14th. Yep. Yeah, and I guess you haven't used the dragon at all, but you do have a flight speed as the dragon now, which is very useful. As well as its con abilities. So yes.
Yes. Well, yeah, I got that last one. I was just searching to see if there was any if there was a class feature at this level. Just to make sure.
No.
Guess what I get at this level, lads?
You got a class feature.
I got an extra fucking cantrip.
Hell yeah, baby!
To add my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cantrips.
Do you have enough cantrips yet?
I now have 9 cantrips.
You did also get
cantrips.
You did also get a class feature though.
Yeah, I did. I now add my proficiency bonus to any rolls I make for counterspell or dispel magic,
which is a whole fucking lot.
Which makes my bonus for rolling counterspell currently a +9.
Wow. Oh, you gain divine presence and lay on hands at this level. Great.
Yes. Yeah.
So you gain the ability to be like, where are the spooky people?
Give me the spooky people.
Give me the spooky people. And then also make sure you now have lay on hands twice. So because you have paladin lay on hands, which is the same thing, you basically just add your Asimar.
Okay, yeah, they're called different things, but
but because they're
roll them together.
They're the same pool, add them together. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
I get disintegrate.
Yay.
Yeah, because I am a kind and lovely DM, and I'm not going to make you track those things separately. You can just have them at the same time.
Yeah.
Imagine Cacula casting disintegrate. What would someone have to do to get Cacula to cast disintegrate on them?
I don't know. But the second I get a 6th levels, I'm fucking taking it.
Yeah, I know. I'm not surprised by that.
I love it. It's amazing.
It's a good spell.
Yeah.
Good spell.
I will just say, like, Kitto wouldn't be bothered, so I won't bring it up in character, but like some of the things we're talking about, especially in terms of like the sanctions and stuff, is making me a bit uncomfortable.
Okay.
Just because
Valid.
like these aren't nations on equal footing at all, and we're describing one as like technologically and culturally backwards, and like suggesting withholding certain like technologies or goods in order to change them culturally, and it like I get that it's about like slavery,
trying to end the slave
but
trade.
it feels a bit like Western expansion